Typically defers, so we'll see Marcus Mariota against Bosa and company momentarily. Kyle Clinton, the fifth-year senior from Dublin, to kick it off and begin this first championship game of the playoff era. True freshman Charles Nelson, the lone deep man for the Ducks at his goal line. Nelson will not test the Piranhas kickoff coverage team of Ohio State. They are excellence. And so here comes Marcus Mariota, almost certainly his final college game. The only Heisman winner ever from the state of Hawaii, Kirk. It's been very, very hard to rattle and ruffle him in his career.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that he tries to establish early in this game is if they can pick up that first down, especially with the pressure that's in the air right now on both of these teams, they're going to try to exploit Ohio State because of that anxiety early, but they've got to get that first down in order to do that.
Ohio State's been a very fast starting defense this year. 6 3-and-outs on opponents' first possessions and 4 interceptions. They come ready. They fake it to Thomas Tyner, throw it near side. Catch made by Byron Marshall, and a nice gain for the Ducks on the first play.
Yeah, nice, easy throw for Marcus and for the offense. Again, Ohio State, it's a numbers game for them. They're trying to get lined up. How many do they have committed to the run? How many do they have committed to the pass?
Second down. Another completion and a first down across the 40-yard line. Von Bell on the tackle, but the Ducks quickly move the chains. It's Marshall again. Now they'll really get fast.
Yeah, now they'll go faster. Quick play action. They'll freeze the linebackers and safeties. Makes it an easy throw out to the edge.
Tyner trying to pick his way. Cuts it back. Darren Lee, the fine freshman linebacker on the stop.
And again, I think, Mariota gets the attention, but Tyner and Freeman are going to be the big factor because they complement what he does so well.
Second and handoff. Tyner again breaks free, loses the ball. It bounced right back to him. A lucky break for the Ducks, who pick up another first down, but just dodge a fumble.
Yeah, the fumble, but look at the hole that he's running through. And I think a defender just, as he's getting blocked there, he just kind of backhanded the ball. I think it was Michael Bennett. Got a hand on it and knocked it free. But a big hole there for Tyner to run through.
Tyner again. Setter set. Shows the power. This is a guy that had a big Rose Bowl after missing the 3 previous games with a shoulder injury.
Yeah, season high 124 yards. He almost tried to check himself out, but by staying out there, they can get their tempo going again that much faster without substitutions. See Mariota clapping. He wants to snap.
Tyner again. Maybe tired, but hammers forward for another first down. The Ducks delivering blows.
And he went right over top of Darren Lee, a key defender for the Ohio State. You simulate it in practice, you think you have an idea, and then you're looking at number 8 and the tempo on the first drive, moving right down the field. A little bit of a shock element going on for Ohio State's defense.
Royce Freeman replacing Tyner. He motioned out, but Mariota will pick his way up the middle, and another nice gain for the quarterback before Curtis Grant stopped him. Ball comes out. A scrum. Was he down before the ball came out? They ripped that out as he was rolling on the ground. We're still conferring this Big 12 crew. Referee Greg Burke's in charge of it.
It looked like as he was going down, he was being tackled there.
First down, Ohio State.
So it's ruled a fumble on the field. I'll take a look at it.
Turnovers, a big key is the knee. Yeah, the knee's down. The left knee is down, and then he comes out. That's a great look at it right there. There's a gray area. The officials turned it and said, you know what, it's Ohio State's ball, but now you leave it up to the booth upstairs to get a good look at it. Clearly, he was down. Oregon will
Covered by
maintain
Ohio
possession.
State. Previous play is under further review.
It's Jack McDonald, Kirk, the replay official in this Big 12 crew, in charge of looking at it.
Yeah, it's the right thing to do on the field. You call it the turnover, give Ohio State the ball. It gives the guys upstairs plenty of time to look at this. See clearly the left knee is down.
Mariota took a shot from Bosa in the back as he was being tackled.
And a big factor in this game will be both these offenses, guys. They're going to move the ball. I mean, both these offenses you would think are going to have success. Turnovers and who scores touchdowns in the red zone will be the big things that are going to determine the outcome of this football game. They're going to move. Both will move the ball.
We saw Mariota in the Rose Bowl throw just his third interception of the season. We talked about an offense that's run more than 1,000 plays with 10 turnovers. Think about that.
It's incredible, especially with what you just saw. How, that is a lot of tempo that Ohio State's trying to deal with, and you don't see a lot of mistakes, as you said. Only 10 turnovers on the year.
Whether it is luck or just being attentive, they have recovered 12 of their own fumbles this year as well.
Mention how you prep for this tempo, and then you see it.
Yep.
And everybody who has faced them, with the exception of maybe Arizona the first time they met, it's in warp speed. And it takes a series or two to adjust and settle in, make adjustments on the sideline.
After possession, they have to sort through, assuming the call is overturned, the spot and the time on the clock.
Yes.
The ball right now being spotted at the 17-yard line, but that was in the event that Ohio State had recovered it.
I think he's down at about the 24-yard line. 1st and 10.
Ducks have already moved 44 yards in 7 plays, a minute 44 so far in this opening drive. About half their scoring drives are accomplished within 2.5 minutes. Ducks don't talk about turnovers. The emphasis in Columbus all week has been protect the ball, don't turn it over, because Oregon is so good at creating takeaways themselves. Helfrich's never really talks about turnovers.
No, you can't do that. You talked about how quickly they score. We saw that last week in the Rose Bowl. I mean, look at this. These are their touchdown drives, and look at the time. 3 minutes was the longest touchdown drive that they had. Everything else under 3.
After further review, the runner's knee was down. It'll be Oregon ball. 2nd and 4 at the 25. Please set the game clock to 13:24.
I apologize.
13:24.
2nd and 4, and that's why it took the time to just make sure that they got the down and the distance and the placement of the ball right.
That overturn came as no surprise. The Ducks offense was right there huddled on the field expecting to go back out. So they've recovered one of their own fumbles, another one overturned already in this opening drive.
If nothing else, it gave Ohio State's defense a chance to maybe collect their breath and try to make a couple adjustments on the sideline. Remember, it's about the red zone. You're going to move.
They fake it to Freeman, pitch it far side. Catch made, and trying to make a man miss is Nelson, who does have a first down. And Floridian finally stopped by Von Bell, but they'll move the chains.
Believe it or not, that's his third option. He had a dive that he came out of because of Joey Bosa coming down. Then that's the old days in the option game where you pitch it. Now you just throw it out to a wide receiver.
Freeman. Heavy traffic in the middle, and he's hit by Curtis Grant.
Now the windows get tighter. It's not as easy to move the ball down in these areas in the red zone. Ohio State will get a little bit more aggressive, willing to take a few more chances with their backs up now to their own goal line.
Second and 8. They fake it to Nelson. Mariota keeping all the way. Rolls around the right side and lowers the shoulder. Should have a first down inside the 10.
Does a nice job following the right guard, Cameron Hunt. And I'll tell you, we know about his speed. That time he just lowered his shoulder to pick up that first down.
Mariota still got it. Pressure. Now gets away. Flings it for a touchdown. Keenan Lowe puts the Ducks on top.
A great job of improvising by Marcus Mariota. The play that was designed was covered, and Von Bell, the safety, lost his man.
Will they go for two? They'll typically do this. Taylor Ailey is the third-string quarterback in the holder. They'll see if the opponent's ready for it. The Buckeyes look ready.
Yeah, after last week against Florida State, that's something I'm sure Urban Meyer and his staff got their group ready for. So they come back in to kick the PAT.
With their freshman from Portland, Aiden Schneider. Ducks dodge disaster in that opening drive. Kirk could have had 2 turnovers, but instead up 7-0. They go 75 yards.
And 11 plays, under 3 minutes, 2:39 to the left. You'll see number 11, Von Bell. He lost his man. He got caught up looking in the backfield. There's a great look at it right there. He's got a man. He's got a cover. He sees Mariota starting to take off. He leaves his man, and Mariota does a great job of locating the open man who's been left by Von Bell and puts the ball in there for the touchdown. Let's take a look at tonight's plan for success, brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. Tonight for Oregon, inside running game to complement Mariota and the quick passing strikes. Win the turnover margin. They're the best in the country. They need to get the ball back to Marcus Mariota. For Ohio State, it's Ezekiel Elliott. Take the pressure off of Cardale Jones. And the way Oregon defends, that'll be very important. We already seen it tonight. Ohio State, not just the interior, but on the outside. They've got to do a good job of setting the edge and not letting the running backs of Mariota get outside.
They could not force Oregon even into a third down play on that drive. Lowe, his first catch in 3 games, the senior with the touchdown. Matt Logan to put it away. And the freshman Curtis Samuel takes a knee. So Cardale Jones comes at Kirk already down 7-0. That's what Helfrich was hoping for. Can they confuse this guy? Can they test his patience?
Yeah, they want to put pressure on him, and he's obviously coming in with a ton of confidence. Hasn't played a lot of football. Started the Big Ten championship game against Wisconsin. Played well. Played even better last week in the Sugar Bowl against Alabama. He and Ezekiel Elliott will be the key. A combination of the vertical passing game and also the tough inside running and outside running of Elliott.
Elliott is behind. The 6'5", 250-pound sophomore from Cleveland. They give it to the sophomore from St. Louis in a short gain.
Interesting, Oregon's defensive strategy. They basically, coming into this game, they respect Elliott and his powerful running game. This offensive line has improved as much as any unit, arguably, in the country. That first snap, they had a lot of white jerseys stacked at that line of scrimmage, begging Ohio State to throw.
Elliott's the guy who romped for 230 against Alabama, Sugar Bowl record. Jones, a second down throw. He can run it. And he scoots out of bounds across the 30, just short by about 4 yards of a first down.
Good decision, but a little bit of pressure there from Oregon. And if you're watching some of these individual players, watch DeForest Buckner, number 44, at number 9, 6'8", 290. Both the defensive ends, they can match up physically very well with Ohio State, and they have to have a great game.
First third down of the game. Elliott motioned out. Jones feels the pressure, escapes, lowers his head, and powers for a first down. That's when the 250 pounds come to bear.
6'5", 250. Remember last week against Alabama, he made similar decisions. 4 different times on third down, he did this. He saw coverage downfield, and he had to pick up first downs. Quite a collision there with the middle linebacker, Hardrick, but he overpowers him and picks up the first down.
Not the last collision we'll see in the middle of the field tonight between Jones and a linebacker.
Oregon dropping 8 into coverage. It's very challenging for an inexperienced quarterback to make those reads. He'll have to run a lot tonight.
This is Elliott. Gets it on 4. Buckner again on the stop.
You know, Oregon has respected what Ohio State has done against Wisconsin and Alabama with the vertical passing game, most notably to Devin Smith, number 9. They want to try to take that away with the style of defense that they play. They want to force Cardale Jones to have patience, make him throw underneath, and then they want to rally to the football, make this young man have to execute the entire field instead of giving up the big play.
It's Jalen Marshall who comes in motion near side, catches the pass from Jones, hit immediately, spun around by Tyson Coleman, and knocked down.
A heck of a play by Tyson Coleman. Jalen Marshall, one of the better players on the Ohio State roster. When he gets the ball out in space, he has such elusiveness, but Coleman had positioned himself very, very well. And I'm telling you, Oregon can run. This defense is very confident with the way they have played in the last 6 games of the season. Sets up another 3rd down for Jones.
This time he needs 7. Ducks rush for Jones. Again, they're spying him, but he gets away from the spy momentarily. Reggie Daniels stops him short of the 1st down.
Chris, that's exactly right. That's something that Don Pelham told us that they would do. You'll see him off to the left. He drops out, and then he's going to come back in. He's in there just to spy, just for the 3rd down scramble. You can see the coverage is outstanding. They use the safety, Daniels, who's 6'1", 205 pounds. Gets him out in space, brings the big fella down, and now Ohio State punts.
One of 30 Aussies who punt in college football, Cameron Johnston, the sophomore, boots it away. And Johnny Lloyd, who was a point guard on the Oregon basketball team, MVP of the Pac-12 tournament. He's played the Sweet 16 in a championship game. That's pretty good for Lloyd. So Mariota and the Ducks up 7, pinned back for their 2nd possession.
The 2015 College Football Playoff National Championship is brought to you by AT&T, presenting sponsor of the College Football Playoff National Championship game, and in part by Chevrolet. Find new roads. Allstate, proud supporters of college football. Are you in good hands? And Taco Bell, bringing you the first ever student section at the College Football Playoff. Live Mas.
The Ducks preach and also practice the mantra, next man up. Here's why that's been important. Braylon Addison, their top returning receiver, ripped an ACL in spring. Tyler Johnstone, their best offensive lineman, never took a snap. Barrow Brown out in November. Ifo Ekpe-Olumu, their All-American lockdown corner, injured in practices for the Rose Bowl. Devin Allen, injured opening kickoff for the Rose Bowl. And, of course, serving the NCAA suspension for a failed drug test tonight, Darren Carrington, as well as a special teamer, Alele Ford. Mariota puts it over the middle on 1st down. It's Lowe again, breaking free. Keenan Lowe barrels out near the 40. The senior, known more as a blocker lately, making an impact.
And here comes tempo after a game like that. Mariota already has him at the line of scrimmage. See how quickly, no substitutions. He can snap it as fast as he'd like.
And that was pretty fast. And here's Tyner again. They're testing the midsection of that Buckeye defensive line.
And Ohio State, Luke Fickell, you wonder what kind of adjustments he's going to make in this 2nd series. Tommy Shutt has come in. That's one adjustment. They're trying to rotate some players, want to stay fresh. Rashad Frazier, 17, also into the game. Got to stay fresh for 4 quarters to try to have a chance to stop him.
2nd down handoff for Tyner. Good blocking at the edge. And now he's hit at the 45. It'll be 3rd and 3. Eli Apple and Bell on the stop.
Keenan Lowe is a lot like Ohio State's wide receiver Evan Spencer. He is an unselfish player who blocks and is very physical. He had a great block on that play.
First time the Bucks have gotten the Mariota near side. Drops. Would have had 1st down yardage, but the freshman Nelson could not come up with that dart, and it's 4th down. Here comes a punt.
Yep. It's a stop for Ohio State, but it's a drop. A great read by Mariota. The flat defender went out wide. It opened it up. And look at the young freshman. Have his head looking up, maybe hearing footsteps, trying to make that move before he was able to secure the football.
Ian Wheeler, the freshman for Oregon, to punt. And it's Jalen Marshall who let it go. Ducks try to down it. Good job throwing it back in the field of play by Dior Mathis, the corner on special teams. And the young quarterback pinned back inside the 5 for his 2nd possession. You're watching the College Football Playoff National Championship game presented by AT&T. Dior Mathis, Kirk, is a corner, has been in the doghouse, but he makes a big special teams play. College rule, just the ball breaking the plane. That's a little different than the NFL.
It's not the player, it's the football, and that's a heck of a hustle play where Mathis got down there. Jalen Marshall tried to use that decoy where he chased him off. Mathis bit it for a second, and then made a great adjustment to be able to down that football.
And a terrific punt by Wheeler. So this looks familiar for Ohio State fans. Lots of bad field position in that win over Alabama.
No doubt about it.
Jones, the safe play, the keeper. They're at him quickly, though. That was Buckner invading the backfield.
Yeah, this defense is built to stop the run in the interior. They have 3 down linemen. Those linemen do a good job of eating up blocks, and those linebackers are attacking downhill. You essentially have 5 defenders very, very tight in the interior against Ohio State's defense. They're determined to try to stop Elliott from running into the middle of the Ohio State offense.
Jones has thrown 1 pass and won it 4 times. From his end zone. Escapes, barely. He just throws it away. The Ducks' quickness gives offensive lines lots of trouble.
Their quickness, whether they're running or Ohio State is trying to throw, they're getting off of blocks. Look at Armstead, number 9. He gets around his guy. He goes right through Elliott. That's a heck of an effort, again, by Armstead, 6'8", 290, out of Sacramento, California. He and Buckner are the keys up front for the Ducks.
It's a big ask for a running back to block a 300-pound lineman. Empty backfield here.
3rd and long inside, deep in your own territory.
And motion Elliott in late. Jones shows the big arm and has a first down completion to Corey Smith across the 30.
Now that play took a lot of time to develop, and you'll see one Ohio State receiver off to the right clear out Chris Cisse, and it opened up. It's a levels route where you need that receiver to clear out. Watch 12. He's going to clear out and opens up a nice vacancy underneath, and that's where Corey Smith's able to come up with a big catch.
26 yards. You see the strength of Jones' arm. Much bigger arm than Braxton Miller or J.T. Barrett. Rolls on play action. Fires it far side into traffic. Catch made. Jalen Marshall. Well covered by the safety Dargan, but the Buckeyes are moving now.
Yeah, now they're trying to attack downfield. That's where their quarterback, Cardale Jones, feels most comfortable. It's actually pretty good coverage. It's a wheel route from Jalen Marshall. The safety, Dargan's right with him, but he didn't turn around to find the football. Marshall did, and he came up with a catch.
Back-to-back 26-yard gains. Elliott. Pretty tough going for the sophomore in the early going.
Go back and look at this last play, that 26-yard gain. It's a wheel route. You have a very talented wide receiver catching that off the back of Dargan. As I said, Dargan never knew the football was in the air. He was with Marshall stride for stride, but he didn't read the eyes of Marshall and get his head turned around.
2nd and 9. Jones pressured again. Strong enough to get away. Loops it for Elliott. A high throw, a dangerous play because Tyson Coleman was closing in.
Well, Don Pelham is doing a heck of a job in Ohio, mixing up the pressures, mixing up the looks, trying to confuse not only the quarterback, but also put some pressure on the offensive line. And here he gets pressure from Hardrick, and then he just kind of says, where's my outlet? Oh, yeah, over here. And throws it. He was very lucky that Coleman, instead of going for the receiver, he didn't try to step in front of it and catch it.
Another 3rd and long. They only rush 3. Jones tries to get it on the ground. Hammered just short of the first down at the 35 by Hardrick. So 4th and 2.
Remember in our meeting when we asked him, what's the key against an 8-man dropping type of defense where they take away a lot of the windows? And he said, Cardale Jones told us, my feet and my check down to my running back. We've seen that in the last 2 passes where he tried to check down to Elliott. This time he tried to run, and it sets up the 4th down.
About 2.5 yards needed. Hot pass. Marshall fighting for it. It's close. Where's that ball? Right on the yellow line. Looks like Ohio State has converted.
Wow, that is really, really close. They're going to bring out the chains to make sure.
That pop pass is a play the Buckeyes like to use. If it is dropped. It just falls incomplete.
Just watch how quick Oregon's defense is moving right now, how quickly they're getting off of blocks. And they are attacking the line of scrimmage. Now, I know it's 4th and short, but they've been doing it the entire early part of this football game. Armstead has been a difference maker, number 9, early in this game.
First down.
Wow. Barely. Half the length of the football. And we asked him in that meeting, you get into these 4th downs at 4-down territory when you're about to get to that 30-yard line, 35-yard line, and he said, hey, we're an aggressive team. That's kind of our nature.
Both sides unafraid to go for 4th downs. So Ohio State's already moved 64 yards in the shadow of their end zone. It's Curtis Samuel, the true freshman, to the right of Jones now. Jones again steps up to avoid pressure, loops it over the head of Samuel, who came out of the backfield. He is not getting much time to think back there.
No, not at all. And again, it's because Don Bellin is doing a great job of mixing up looks. He's blitzing, but he's playing zone behind it. So he's only theoretically rushing 4, and sometimes this case he's rushing 5, but it's affecting the communication along the offensive line. And then you add in the quickness and how quickly they're getting upfield, putting a lot of pressure on that Ohio State offensive line in the passing game.
Elliott breaks free. Ezekiel Elliott gets a block and busts to the end zone. The final 33 yards of a 97-yard Ohio State touchdown drive. And the man who ripped up Bama off to a slow start here until that run, Kirk.
They had bottled him up for sure, Chris, until that run. The success in the passing game opened that up.
Freshman Sean Nurnberger ties the game at 7. There is a flag down. Hold on, there's a flag on the PAT. The 2 26-yard plays to get out of Banfield position, the 4th and 2 conversion, and then Elliott's 15th touchdown run this season.
Greg
Burke's mic breaking up. They called a hold on Ohio State. I believe he said number 48. They'll re-kick it.
What did Ohio State need an answer with the way Mariota and Oregon's offense looked in that first drive? And really the only reason they got stopped in the second drive is they dropped the conversion on the throw on 3rd down.
So Nurnberger, who hasn't missed one this year, 83 for 83, a 30-yard PAT. There was Jalen Marshall by the nose of a football, prolonging the drive.
That was the big play. This keeps the drive alive. But watch the block by Nick Vannett, 81. Boom, right there. A trap opened up the middle. And when you give Elliott a little bit of room to get to that second level, he not only has the power, he's got the speed and quickness and great feet to get into the end zone and tie this game up for Ohio State.
Mariota back to work. We're all even in Arlington. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Whether you're going for it from a few yards out, as Ohio State did, or from miles away, go with a tire with superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. Of course, the nickname Super Mariota, Kurt, obvious, especially for people like you who are fans of the classic 80s video game. You said you were a world champion in this.
I really was, yeah. And I love these graphics.
You know, it's the Rose Bowl trophy that he's got there. Obviously, the Heisman Trophy, the O'Brien, the Walter Camp, the Unitas, the Maxwell. Trophy case in Hawaii is going to be very full. This is Nelson. He dropped that pass earlier on 3rd down, tries to get wide. Very tough to do against a fast coverage team like Ohio State. But Nelson did actually get the corner, got to the 17.
The kicker came down there and made the play.
Slight difference in the resume for Cardale Jones. You can't be better than 2-0, but Mariota 36-4, and he's now thrown a touchdown pass in all 41 of his career starts.
Yeah, he's one of those players, one of those athletes. You start to run out of great things to say about him, and he's just been around so long, and he's done it the right way for so long. And now we got a different feel. Again, this is now Ohio State answered, and the crowd back into the game, and see how the Ohio State defense does against Marcus here on this drive.
Defense got some rest and then Ohio State possession. Tyner again. Stiff arm with a face, and another good first down game.
Ohio State tried to bring the corner blitz, Eli Apple, to right in front of where the play actually opened up. But he went after Mariota, and it opened up for Freeman to just run right by him. And a good block by the left tackle. Fisher opened it up.
And fake it to Freeman. This is one of the heroes, Evan Bayless of the Rose Bowl. He caught only 4 passes all season until that game, and then he caught 6 against Florida State.
It's a pretty good day. And now with the injury to Allen and, of course, Carrington being out, he's going to have more of a role tonight.
They got the first down. Mariota keeps it at the last minute, flipped it to the edge to Bayless, but Tyvis Powell was ready for it.
And again, this is his option. So the dive he takes it, the dive is taken away. This is his pitch back, the old-fashioned option game. But instead, he just throws it down, throws it out to the tight end. In some cases, it'll be a wide receiver. They're just trying to. It's a yin and yang game. But too many defenders inside, I'll flip it outside. Are you going to give me the inside? I'll take the inside. It's all about the numbers for Oregon.
Freeman hitting the backfield. Adolphus Washington beat the block. It's the first negative play for Oregon. It'll set up 3rd and long.
Luke Fickell's answer is blitz. Raekwon McMillan, the true freshman, comes from the right. You're also going to see Darren Lee, who is there for the quarterback. Very aggressive on this series from the Ohio State defense, bringing more pressure.
Mariota flips it downfield, has a man wide open, who drops it. Dwayne Stanford was backpedaling in Ohio State territory. The second 3rd down drop for the Ducks in the quarter.
Yeah, and not only that, Adolphus Washington, this is what that tempo can do to you. He's trying to get off the field. If Mario would have snapped the ball quicker, there would have been 12 defenders on the field for Ohio State. But Stanford, who's from Cincinnati, Ohio, high school teammates with Washington, drops a huge play for the Oregon offense. The second drop tonight on 3rd down.
So Wheeler again. And Jalen Marshall at his 35. Marshall fields it. Hit immediately. It spins free. Jalen Marshall still running across midfield. Showing the versatility. And he sets up the Buckeyes in plus territory.
Young man was a high school quarterback in Middletown, Ohio. An unbelievable option quarterback. A lot of versatility. He's moved to receiver. This gives you an idea of what he can do with a football in his hands. That's why they try to get him the ball as many times as they can. Get him in space. Get him on special teams. He's physical. He's not just quick. He can pull out of tackles, and that's an example of it right there.
So think about the momentum switch since the next touchdown. The drop by Nelson on 3rd down. Ohio State goes 97. Another huge drop by Stanford on 3rd down. Punt return setting up Jones at the 46. Elliott. Nice game inside the 40.
That last drive, they had 3 plays of 25 yards or more. So it was the big play, not just the Elliott touchdown, but we saw a couple throws from Jones. For the first time we've seen him get on track. What was more impressive is the poise that he plays with. He's backed up inside his own 5-yard line and led them on a 10-play, 97-yard touchdown drive.
Jones on 2nd and 4, flips it near side to Michael Thomas. And Thomas knocked down, but not before gaining first down yardage at the 33.
And Cardale Jones takes a page out of Marcus Mariota. He's got 3-on-2. So he gets out of the run game. This is a tag where he can just throw it out there and rely on one of his skill players to be able to pick up yards after the catch. 3 receivers against 2 defenders because Oregon's crowding that line, worried about Elliott. He recognizes it, flips it out there, and picks up a first down.
Michael Thomas, the nephew of Keyshawn Johnson, whom Urban Meyer credits with turning around the sophomore's attitude before this season. Jones, a first down throw. As all day, loops it over the middle downfield into the end zone. Broke it up, but a flag comes in. Troy Hill was covering the home run threat for the Buckeyes, Devin Smith.
That's when number 9 is out in the lineup, out wide. Most of his catches are downfield. Oregon knows that. Troy Hill, as soon as the ball is snapped, he's bailing, trying to get deep, knowing that Smith's going to try to go vertical on him.
Talking about a guy, Kirk, who averages almost 28 yards per catch.
Pass interference. Defense, number 13. 15-yard penalty. It is first down.
You got the corner from Youngstown, Hill.
Yeah, Hill all over his back. An easy call for the official. The vertical passing game again. It's going to be an ongoing battle tonight because Oregon does not want to give up the easy strike that they've seen Jones do against Wisconsin and Alabama. That time clearly interference on Troy Hill.
Smith, great job boxing out. Might not be a more gifted receiver on deep balls in college football. As Elliott takes the handoff. Barrows free again. Zeke Elliott down near the goal line.
We talked in the open about the biggest key in this game was going to have to be the Ohio State running game and Zeke Elliott. This time he follows a couple of his linemen, Elfine and also Billy Price, and follows them and picks up huge yards.
On first and goal, Jones bobbled the snap. Now fires far side. Bennett, touchdown, Ohio State.
Just the end of this play to make sure he broke the plane. The ball breaks the plane right there. A touchdown and the right call downstairs.
Junior from Westerville, Ohio. Vanette's 5th touchdown reception. Jones came close to losing that snap. So eager to get this play off. So Ohio State held down an early 7-0 hole with a 97-yard drive, followed by a 46-yard 4-play touchdown drive set up by the punt return and keyed by this pass interference call.
Yeah, this was big, Chris. That's a great observation. He did kind of use his body to keep Hill away from it. The only way Hill could get there is to go through him, which was the interference. But Zeke Elliott right now is starting to get some traction. 6 carries, 62 yards, such balance and vision and power. And then the touchdown. A little bit of another page out of Oregon's book. Bennett man-to-man, but Daniels gets there late, and there's the arm strength coming into play once again from Jones to get it to Bennett quickly to give him time to get to the corner to get the touchdown.
How would the inexperienced quarterback execute in the red zone? It was a big question. So far, so good for Cardale Jones in this offense.
And Chris, I think that's the thing that you have to really step back and be in awe of with Cardale Jones. It's not just the numbers that he's putting up. It's very rare. I don't think in my lifetime it's never happened where a guy sits around for 11 or 12 weeks, thrust into a Big Ten championship game, plays well. 3 weeks later, he's playing Alabama and Nick Saban when they have time to get him ready. He plays incredibly well and with such poise for a guy that has not played a lot of football. And again, we're seeing a lot of the similarities from those first 2 games that he's played again tonight.
Clemson to boot it away. They'll typically boot it to that left quarter. This one's so deep, there'll be no return. So 2 Ducks drops on 3rd down have been massive. Mariota's only 2 incompletions.
We call those self-inflicted wounds.
Taco Bell student section. Taco Bell in the college football playoff have provided 1,000 student tickets free of charge, so the students can come to Arlington and cheer on their teams. You get those nifty color-coordinated scarves as part of the deal.
I will say this. Being here at AT&T Stadium here in Arlington, you wondered, would it feel like a Super Bowl? Would it feel like a college atmosphere? This definitely feels like a big-time event here in the inaugural College Football Playoff Championship.
2-back look. Tyner and Freeman flanking Mariota. This is Tyner. And Tyner near a first down. In fact, they will move the chains as we go to Heather.
Chris, after the big third down drop, Dwayne Stanford came to the bench, went back to the players' box, basically hid by the water coolers. Mark Helfrich came over immediately, gave him a high five and said, next play. Now go sit with your teammates, and basically shuttled him over, basically led him by the hand over to where the offense is sitting. Now Dwayne Stanford back out on the field and eager for some redemption after this drop.
He's wearing 85 to honor Pharaoh Brown, the Ducks tight end who had a Grizzly injury. Evan Bayless is filling in for Pharaoh Brown. We talked about the big Rose Bowl he had, and now Kirk He's down as they look at his right ankle.
Yeah, and when he got up, it did look good right away. A very, very heavy limp. See, a player rolls up on him. Right away, he goes down. And because of the loss already to Allen and Carrington, it's the last thing they can afford to do is lose Bayless, who has stepped up for Brown pretty admirably. You mentioned the 6 catches last week in the Rose Bowl.
Already very thin at the tight end position. I know it's next man up, but isn't there a limit to how many of these playmakers Mariota can lose and still keep the offense humming?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would love to go back to Heather's report about Stanford. I mean, imagine growing up in the state of Ohio, dreaming to one day play for Ohio State. You go out to Oregon to play for the Ducks, and who are you playing in your national championship game? The team that you grew up watching, with high school teammates starting on the other side, Adolphus Washington. Nothing would make him happier than make some big plays. He's got to shake that drop, forget about it, and go out there and play football. They need him tonight.
Buckeyes get a chance to get a breather, but Mariota fakes it and gets to the edge. He fooled the Buckeyes defense and then flashed the speed.
Well, Ohio State was in position. Steve Miller went down on the dive, and Eli Apple was there to make the tackle. It's one thing, again, to draw it up. It was perfectly designed by Luke Fickell, but Eli Apple's got to try to make a tackle on the Heisman winner.
Freeman barrels ahead, fights forward to the 45. It'll be 3rd and a yard. Yeah, it doesn't quite look the same on the practice field compared to number 8 in real life, and defense after defense has found out. Final 30 seconds of the first quarter. Freeman and Mariota wasn't ready for the snap. It's a false start for Oregon. We'll make it 3rd and 6.
Stevens, the left guard.
False start. Number 54 offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
So it becomes a trickier conversion, to say the least.
Well, when they are % of the time, if you can make them have to go a little bit longer like any offense, but really 3rd and 4 or more, only at 42%.
This is the defense that gave Alabama's offense a very tough time on 3rd down in the Sugar Bowl. Mariota has protection, throws into traffic, and it's incomplete. Tyvis Powell broke it up. Byron Marshall wanted a flag. There isn't one.
It's a heck of a play by the safety, Powell. Ohio State electing to sit back and play zone. Rushing 4, trying to play some zone. They've got some defenders underneath there. Looked like that's the reason Marshall came up frustrated, is he felt that
right arm.
Yeah, the right arm hooked Marshall.
Should have been interference, and fans know that the Big 12 crew not usually shy about throwing flags on pass interference. That was the national reaction when they were announced as the officials for this championship game. Another penalty, a false start, will back up the Ducks before Wheeler's punt.
False start. Number 44 offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Yeah, Mark Helfrich agrees. He thought without a question, throw the flag. Yeah, he's frustrated. It's a big 3rd down for Oregon.
Again on 3rd down for the Ducks. Kirk, 2 drops. One by Nelson, one by Stanford, and that non-call. Marshall, a nice return last time. Takes it at the 25. Gets the edge again, and tight ropes along the far sideline. Ohio State wanted a late hit flag, and they won't get one. So 9 seconds to go in the first quarter. Friday, an NBA doubleheader on ESPN. Warriors Thunder at 8 Eastern. And then LeBron, huge Ohio State fan, and the Cavs against the Clippers at 10:30. Coverage begins at 7:30 with NBA Countdown Friday.
Nobody is a bigger fan than LeBron of Ohio State. He loves the Buckeyes.
Could have played football at Ohio State if he wanted to.
I covered him when he was in high school, and obviously a tremendous athlete. But yeah, he could have done about whatever he wanted to do in high school, even on the football field.
Nice to have a 7-point cushion and the ball if you're Cardale Jones. Ohio State gets possession with the lead for the first time as the first quarter wraps up. Ducks were sharp early, but some execution problems after that, and 2 Ohio State touchdown drives. End of one in Arlington. Back after these messages, you're watching the College Football Playoff National Championship game presented by AT&T. Ohio State fans talking to Tim Tebow, by the way, what's going to happen next year? Jones rolls out, thought about looking downfield, dumped it short, but it's off the hands of Bennett.
I don't think we can do a good enough job of describing what this Ohio State team has faced. Braxton Miller, 4-year starter, one of the front runners for the Heisman Trophy, 12 days before the season. You go to a guy named J.T. Barrett, he's never taken a snap. He becomes a Heisman candidate. He goes down in the Michigan game. And then Cardale Jones, who hadn't really taken a snap, plays these last 3 games. It is remarkable.
Barrett gets his cast off this week. He's a native Texan, deprived of a chance to play in his home state by that injury against Michigan. Third down. Jones again has space and motors into Ducks territory for a first down.
Boy, he recognized this and he took it. He was able to break contain. They did not do a good job of keeping him in the pocket. Instead of just kind of easing his way outside of the pocket, he sees it and he knows it's 3rd and 7. This is again the awareness, the recognition for an inexperienced quarterback, picks up the first down.
Got 17 on 3rd and 9. Now Kirk, it's the Ducks defense. It's reeling a bit, looking a bit confused and frustrated. Throw far side. Michael Thomas breaks a tackle. Slammed down at the 40, but he got 5.
Again, I think that's the thing that has really stood out to me about Cardale Jones is not just the big arm, but how he executes. How he's executing. Typically, when you see an inexperienced quarterback, the game's moving really fast, and you're trying to catch up to the game. This game isn't moving fast at all. He's recognizing things, making the right checks.
Elliott, they mishandle the handoff, and the Ducks recover a fumble. Right on cue, there was a miscommunication between quarterback and running back.
No question about it. Looks like Jones was a little confused. He had Elliott trying to pull at the ball. Let's see, it's a little bit of a mesh point. Oh, yeah. Jones was going to initially go play action and just put it in there. And then he pulls it back, and then he tries to put it back in. Elliott was just running a play fake. Great heads-up play by Oregon.
So Mariota from the 41. The Tyner to his left. They fake it to him, fire far side, and it looks like Bayless is okay. The tight end back in the game makes the catch. Heather?
Yeah, Chris, you were just talking about Bayless. He came out with a right ankle injury. Team doctor Greg Skaggs asked him if it was a high or low sprain. He answered high. Then he said, "Can you walk?" His reply was yes. So head athletic trainer Kevin Stowe heavily
takes advantage of turnovers. 3rd in the nation in points off of turnovers. So when they get the ball, they usually capitalize. They did it last week against Florida State 5 different times.
Yeah, because it's the hardest offense in the country to face on sudden change. The defense not expecting to go out there. All of a sudden, you're facing Mariota in this blur attack. Mariota saw something, checked to it, fires over the middle, and running free is Byron Marshall down near the 25. That was an adjustment at the line.
It sure was, and a good job of getting to the middle. He comes back to his 3rd or 4th option, comes back to the middle of the Ohio State defense.
Near side, this is Stanford, who had the drop earlier, making the catch, and Lee drops him after a short game.
And that's just good for Stanford to get his hands back on the football and make a play. You know, there's nothing better than for a receiver after a tough loss than to be able to get your hands on the ball.
2nd and 8, Mariota fires. Marshall makes the catch and spins out of bounds near the
corner, and it opened up nicely for Marshall, the former running back, who once they get him the football, he is very, very dangerous after the catch.
First and goal. You fake it to Tyner, firing near side. Bayless is hit immediately after a short gain. Powell on the stop.
Last time Mariota moved them into the red zone is such a pivotal part of this game for both teams. They didn't have any problem at all executing and coming up with a touchdown.
In the words of play caller Scott Frost, they have a tendency to get cute in the red zone. It's not a typical Chip Kelly era red zone running game, is it?
No, it's not.
Mariota flips it over the head of Bayless, who got caught up in traffic. Third down.
Again, this offense is based on deception. Hard play fake, left guards pulling around. There's Scott Frost calling the plays. By the way, we'll show you a little bit later how quickly he does call the plays. But that was another typical Oregon. Hard play fake, left guard pulling around to make the linebackers and safeties think that it's a run. Then he pulled it out trying to get them out of position, but they stayed home and were in good position to be able to make it tough on Mariota to make the throw.
Plays like this can decide a championship game. Third and goal. Marshall, they fake it to him. Mariota keeping all the way. Gets the corner, shows the ability to lower the shoulder, but the Buckeyes stop him well short of the goal line. Fourth down.
And remember, when you see a play like that, it's usually 4-down territory. They're running that play to potentially set up a better chance at fourth down. Now they're inside at about 4th and 3 to give them a better chance. So don't be surprised by that call on third down, because that play is to set up this play for the potential touchdown.
Conventional wisdom is defied, but the Ducks said they'd play this game like any other. Going for it. Handoff, Tyner. Not going to get there.
Tyvis Powell, the safety, who secured the victory a week ago against Alabama in the Sugar Bowl on that last play, that last Hail Mary, came in a hurry along with the middle linebacker, Curtis Grant.
The flag comes down in the scrum after the play. And Buckeye is down in the end zone. Talking about a team, Kirk, that's converted 17 times on fourth down this year. That was the biggest fourth down attempt, and the Buckeyes stop them.
It was Cameron Hunt and Michael Bennett got tangled up. It was ugly.
The runner was short of the goal line. It'll be first down, Ohio State. After the play, personal foul, number 53, Ohio State. Penalty to be enforced half the distance to the goal. Timeout.
That's Bennett. Half the distance is about 4 inches. They'll review whether or not Tyner got there, but I don't think so.
Yeah, you can see, I mean, what a heck of a job by Ohio State's defense. Tyvis Powell and Curtis Grant. And afterwards, some fisticuffs after the play is dead.
Helfrich passes on 3 and comes away with nothing. That's Cameron Hunt. Rick, you want to know what it's like at the bottom of a pile? Well, you know what it's like.
Yeah.
Big guys going at it.
There's Bennett right there with his head pinned to the end zone.
He got flagged.
He did. He's got a hold of the face mask. This is where the flag came in. The umpire's trying to tell him to let go of the face mask. Let go of the face mask. Let go of it. And after he doesn't let go of it, he reaches in, and that's where he pulls the flag out.
But he'd already been hit upside the face by Hunt.
Right. Well, he got pinned. Yeah, he got pinned.
So Cardell Jones under center, the ball about a foot from the goal line, and he's able to sneak it out a couple yards.
Remember, the last time they were pinned deep, they went on a 97-yard drive. They're just trying to give themselves a little bit of wiggle room. Remember, you're used to taking a snap from a shotgun. All of a sudden, you get back into your own half-yard line. You get under center. It's a little bit different. And make sure you secure the football. Oregon's trying to create another turnover like they did on the last possession.
Meanwhile, this Ohio State defense has stopped the Ducks on all 4 third-down attempts and that fourth down attempt, with an assist and a couple of drops, of course. Second down, handoff. Elliott again, busting free. Puts it back up the middle, dragged down near the 30, and the Buckeyes again escape their own goal line.
Chris, it's Bennett. Boom, that block right there. A good block by Pat Elf. Elfine on the play side, on the right side, opened it up, but it's Vanette again. This time he takes out DeForest Buckner, and a good job by the right side of the offensive line. Elfine and also Darrell Baldwin opened that up for Ezekiel Elliott.
Elliott's first 4 carries netted almost nothing. His last 4 was already near 100 yards. First down, play action. Jones delivers far side. Catch is made again by Vanette, the tight end. You like the call by Helfrich to pass on the short field goal and go for the touchdown?
I like the call because it's who they are. From August 31 to this game, going back the last 7 years, it's in their DNA. And I know that we asked him in the meeting, it's a championship game. Do you go for it? He's like, hey, we do what we do. So if you don't go for it, he told us, your kids start to maybe panic and think you're treating the game differently.
Elliott. Buckner collide, and the running back wins that battle, spinning for a first down.
But when you do go for it that deep, you hope that your defense gets a 3 and out to give you the football in great field position. And right now, the Ohio State offensive line beginning to assert itself, and Zeke Elliott, as you're seeing, starting to get into a little bit of rhythm himself.
Buckeyes already with 132 rushing yards. Elliott out, and Curtis Samuel, the freshman, is in. Another first down throw from Jones. Takes a shot downfield, has a man wide open. It's Corey Smith. Loses the ball. Turned it over, and the Ducks recover. Rodney Hardrick, after the game was down into the red zone. Ohio State loses it again.
Again, this is what Oregon does. They're going to give up plays. They did it against Florida State last week in their Rose Bowl game. They don't give up after giving up some yards. You can see they're ball hawks. Troy Hill puts his helmet right on the football, and there's the middle linebacker Hardrick picking it up. So 2 turnovers now for the Ducks against this Ohio State offense.
So Ohio State misses a chance to increase its lead, and Mariota back to work, still down just 7.
The 2015 College Football Playoff National Championship is brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Tweet your one-of-a-kind goal with hashtag Dr. Pepper giveaway. DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. And the all-new Ford F-150, the future of tough.
Now this first College Football Playoff National Championship game presented by AT&T, and the perfect venue for it. Massive yet intimate. Energy tremendous in here. Lots of Ohio State fans disappointed with that fumble on back-to-back possessions in Oregon territory, Kirk. So Mariota from the 9-yard line gives it to Freeman. Muscled down by Joshua Perry, the junior from Ohio.
Sorry, Glenn. Ohio State in the game against Alabama, you remember they started to put up some yards, but they weren't putting up points. They weren't executing and finishing drives. You can see already 258 yards of offense.
The tempo doesn't work if you're stuffing the running game, and Oregon's going to be forced into another 3rd and medium here. Haven't converted one tonight, Kirk.
And that's the big key coming in. It's not just about Marcus Mariota. It's holding up against the interior in their running game. Joey Bosa that time slid underneath and made a heck of a play there on 2nd down.
The place is loud on 3rd and 5. Ohio State closing in on Mariota, knocks him down. Adolphus Washington, the tackle, got there, combining with the freshman Lee.
This is where Ohio State's defense has changed the most from last year to this year. So creative now on 3rd down. Washington beats his man and gets around the freshman. Well, how about the pressure? They brought the linebacker Grant and Darren Lee, who has become an enforcer for the Ohio State defense in the latter part of the season, playing with so much more confidence.
44th sack for the Buckeyes defense this year, and Wheeler's in his end zone. Marshall scampers over and makes a fair catch, and Ohio State will start in Ducks. Not efficient so far on 3rd down.
Well, we knew he would be a big key in this game, and tonight's Capital One pivotal performance is not just Elliott, but the offensive line, the tight end Vanette, nice trap block, the center Bourne gets up to the linebacker, and look at Elliott pull away from the safety, and then there's the acceleration to take it into the end zone. Then when they were pinned back deep in their own territory, came back with the same play. Vanette on that trap block against Buckner, and there you see the play side. The right side does a good job of opening up a running lane, and there's Elliott. When you give him some room running downhill, he is a handful for any defense to deal with.
And the Ducks, kings of cashing takeaways into points, get nothing from those back-to-back fumbles for Ohio State. Jones now backpedaling. Chased by Buckner, and just throws it away.
Well, Oregon recognized empty and brought pressure. That's a check from that Oregon defense and Don Pelham.
It's a big man chasing a big man, too.
Eventually, those two are going to meet tonight at some point, because you're right. Buckner at 6'7", 290, and Jones at 6'5", 250. That's a heck of a collision. But a good adjustment there by Oregon late. Empty, only 5 in to block, and they brought pressure.
Marshall motions in. They hand it to him, but the Ducks invade the backfield, drop him for a 2-yard loss. Andy Mattingly, who's a backup linebacker, helped make the play.
You're right. Mattingly does a good job of shooting through here. He's going to come right here, and he's going to come downhill. Doesn't hesitate at all. Sees it, reads the keys, shoots through that offensive line. Elliott didn't have a chance on that play.
So it's the Ducks defense turn to try to rise up and negate good field position for the Buckeyes, who need 12 on this third down. Jones steps up, fires downfield. Devin Smith is open and makes the catch at the 5.
Lined up on the left side. He's going to come right through here. A heck of an adjustment here by Cardale Jones. You know about him scrambling. Here, he keeps his eyes downfield. He sees Smith getting the separation, and I love that he threw it all the way away from Daniels to allow Smith to run underneath that, and that's a heck of an effort by Devin Smith in concentrating, going up, and making that catch.
Cardale and J.T. Barrett says the one rule, never underthrow Devin Smith. Always give him a chance to go out and run for the ball. On 1st and goal, quarterback keeps it and gets inside the 5.
Hope he didn't hurt his 27 yard per catch average here. But this is just a good job by a receiver, trusting his quarterback's arm strength, realizing he can make that play. Boy, Daniels came so close to getting a hand on that ball and knocking it away, but the strength of Smith and the concentration allowed him to come up with it.
There's only 2 catches against Bama, 47 and 40 yards. That was 45. Second and goal. Ducks are crowding the line. Jones again keeps it, barrels forward, touchdown.
Make sure he got across. He follows Ezekiel Elliott. Yeah, he extended before the knee touched. That's a touchdown.
Great job not letting the knees hit the ground. The elbow was close to the goal line. We'll take a look. The elbow was down before the ball broke the plane. That's what they'll look at.
Rolling on the field was touchdown. Previous play is under further review.
Yeah, I was focused on his knees, Chris. I was checking to see if his knees touched.
They did not. The elbow there when the ball is just a little bit short of the goal line.
This would be a great look.
Dave Kataya is our.
He's down there, and the ball had not crossed the plane.
Dave, how would you rule on this if you were in the position of the replay official?
Remember one thing here is that hand is not down, but any part of that wrist or arm beyond the hand is down before that ball is short. we're not going to have a touchdown. And we need to take another good look at this to make sure there's indisputable video evidence.
And Dave, for the viewers, even as his elbow touches the line, that's not breaking the plane. It's all about the football, right?
Right. Now take a look at this shot. You see the elbow on the goal line and his forearm, and look where the ball is.
After review, the runner's elbow hit the ground, and the ball was short of the goal line. It'll be third down at the half foot.
Jones, I think, suspected it. He had strapped up his helmet about 30 seconds ago, ready to go back in. So third down. All just a few inches short of the goal line.
Yeah, and it was a good job of having the patience there. He follows the block here. You're going to see the guard come around. He also follows the big running back, Elliott. It's a well-designed play. Just comes up a little bit short. Yeah, I think the officials and I were looking at the knees to see if he was able to get across, but it was the elbow for sure.
You get a bet against the quarterback keeper here? Let the 250 pounder go
6'5", 250. That's a pretty good call.
Under center. Sneak. Second effort. Spins into the end zone. And Cardale Jones has given the Buckeyes a 2-touchdown lead.
Oregon stopped him initially. I think they knew obviously what was coming, and initially he stopped. But the spin and then that second effort gets him in there for the touchdown.
Ohio State surviving fumbles on their 2 previous drives. Drives 49 yards in 6 plays. And the Ducks, after scoring first, the kings of the quick scoring runs, watch the Buckeyes put up 21 straight.
You got to go back to the play. The big throw by Jones on the move, throwing that ball downfield away from the defender Daniels. A heck of a catch to set up this touchdown. They came back on third down. It didn't count on the second down, but this time Jones takes it in for the touchdown.
Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Whether you're going for it from a few yards out or from miles away, go with the tire with superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. Good thing this place has a roof. It's damp and chilly outside. Comfortable inside, especially for the folks in scarlet and gray. Touchdown drive puts the Ducks at their biggest deficit of the season, with Ohio State getting the football to begin the second half. A fairly crucial 4:49 to go in the second quarter, Kurt.
It's a big drive. Big drive for Mariota to try to get back to having that rhythm and that tempo that we saw in that first drive.
Buckeyes will typically only play on the left half of the field when they kick it off. And once again, a touchback.
Well, this Oregon offense has struggled at times. They've hurt themselves with some drops on some pivotal third downs. But Ohio State, the last few series, they've gotten a different effort, different penetration from the defensive line and the linebackers, playing much better. Let's see if Mariota, remember, they need that first down to try to light that fuse, to try to get their tempo going. But the battle up front, which we knew coming in would be pivotal, and Ohio State constantly rotating bodies. That second group of Frazier, Shutt, Munger, and Lewis coming in from time to time to spot Miller, Bennett, Washington, and Bosa.
Mariota keeps it. Gets a block on the edge and ducks down after a short gain. Ducks have not run very well on first down, which is setting up second and third long, not converting. If you don't convert, you can't run tempo.
They're only averaging 4 yards a carry, which is very unusual for their running game.
Mariota flushed again. Flips it. Far side. Catch made. Marshall forced out. The flag is down. Back where the quarterback was being pursued. I think holding in that area.
Looked like the right tackle, Crosby.
Number 75 offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Call it on the senior Jake Fisher. So earlier it was a pass interference call, but that's a good one. And now a holding penalty disrupts this potential drive.
These are things they just can't have when they play against an athletic team that can be physical up front. There's the hold right there by Fisher. The right tackle, Crosby, had one as well, but they're going to go on the left side. It was a good job by Mariota. The play was well covered to his right. He kept the play alive and eventually found Marshall, but again, another mistake for this Oregon offense.
2nd and 18. Buckeye fans on their feet and hollering. Pump fake. And it's a catch and a low throw by Marshall. It'll be 3rd and long again.
And again, they're bringing pressure. They're trying to free up Joey Bosa one-on-one, and by bringing Darren Lee, look at Bosa to the inside of that. He gets a one-on-one matchup. So again, not Lee didn't get there, but they got pressure.
Mariota on 3rd down, over the middle, and a catch made, a tough one by Dwayne Stanford. Little piece of redemption for the earlier drop, a big conversion to the 46.
And he does a great job of settling down there and making a heroic catch after the drop that he had earlier.
Got 28 on that 11, and they're playing quickly. This is Tyner muscling forward. Remember this play, if the Ducks get back in it.
He settles down in the zone and then goes up in the air knowing that a safety is going to lower the boom, holds on to the ball. Great job by Dwayne Stanford.
And now the challenge, Kirk. 12 seconds after the big game, they snapped the 1st down play. Ohio State thought they had him stopped. Mariota over the middle, Marshall again. And he got away from Perry, the linebacker, inside the 30.
You take that matchup all day. Marshall, former running back, lined up against Perry. One-on-one coverage. 250-pound linebacker can't stay with Marshall in space.
Here comes the blur speed. And Mariota takes off. The Buckeyes got plenty of team speed on defense, too. Von Bell joined. They gave chase, and now some jawing between the Buckeyes and Mariota on that sideline.
Darren Lee is coming on almost every play. 43. They bring him again. This time he gets outside of it. But, Chris, you mentioned, how about Raekwon McMillan, the middle linebacker, 240 pounds, chasing him along with Von Bell.
That is a fast-moving young 240-pounder.
Future superstar.
5-star recruit out of Georgia. It's Freeman. They fake it to him. Mariota on the keeper. They were ready for him, and they force him on the boundary. And Eli Apple, it's 3rd and long again.
And that was a bad read by Mariota. They were reading Michael Bennett. Bennett acted like he was going to go at the back, but then went to Mariota, and then Bosa was there as well to help out with Eli Apple.
We got 2 plays to get these 9 yards. Helfrich for sure will go for it if they can't make it on 3rd down.
See the fatigue there, Chris. They're constantly rotating bodies up front on the defensive line, playing more tonight than they've played all year.
Mariota, pass far side, nice catch made, 1st down to the 15-yard line. 170-pound freshman Nelson takes a blow but holds on.
One of the toughest guys on this football team, wearing number 6 after DeAnthony Thomas from a year ago. He knew he was going to get hit, but holds on to the ball.
Tempo again. Freeman again. Now inside of 2 minutes before halftime. Can the Ducks get 7, cut into the lead before giving the ball back to the Buckeyes to start the 3rd quarter?
Very important they finish this drive with a touchdown for Oregon, not just to get back into the game. Remember, last time they were down here, they got stopped inside that 2-yard line.
Freeman picks his way inside the 10. It'll be 3rd down.
That is a heck of a battle going on in the inside between the Oregon offensive line, the interior of the Ohio State defensive line, and those linebackers. It's going to be a long 4 quarters for that group.
Again, you'd figure 2 plays to get the 4 yards?
I would, yeah.
Mariota's got it, flips it, bad throw. Misfire to Bayless, who was pretty open in the flat, and it's 4th down.
Yeah, you don't see that very often. Because of the way that play unfolded, now you're going to take the points. If they would have been able to pick up maybe a couple, then maybe you go for it. But Marcus Mariota had his tight end open, and he just missed it.
Missed him by a lot.
Yeah.
And the Ducks haven't played from 2 touchdowns behind, so a different position for the Heisman Trophy winner as Aiden Schneider, the freshman from Portland, is very accurate on short field goals, doesn't try any long ones, knocks it through. So inside of the final minute in the first quarter, the Ducks drive 66 yards in 12 plays. It took them 4 minutes. That's a marathon drive by Oregon standards. They cut it to 11. Coming up at halftime, I invite you to stay tuned for the Buick halftime report. Lots to talk about. Ducks got out to that quick start, took their first possession to the end zone, but Ohio State responded. Some mental mistakes by the Ducks and drops on third down, but 2 fumbles by Ohio State haven't cost them.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of sloppy play from time to time from some of the offensive play from Oregon. We're just not accustomed to seeing that. Ohio State deserves some credit for making some adjustments, kind of cranking up the pressure, playing very well on that defensive line. This is a 60-minute game. If there's one thing we've learned about watching Oregon is you might have 2 or 3 or 4 series where you're holding on, but all of a sudden, again, they light that fuse and they get you on your heels. That time, Ohio State squeezed in the red zone, forced a field goal, which is very, very important against Mariota.
You see the Ohio State offense success. What can Don Pelham's Oregon defense do in the second half? They've caused 2 fumbles, but haven't stopped Cardale Jones and Elliott and company.
Well, it's a dangerous combination. You think about it. You got to worry about the physicality of Elliott in the running game. And then you've got to worry about the arm strength in the vertical passing game. That's what that really is what eventually did in Alabama and Wisconsin. So if you're Don Pelham, you're going to, now that they're down and Ohio State gets the ball to start the second half, he's going to have to take some chances and come after Cardale Jones and try to load up the line of scrimmage against Elliott in that running game.
Halftime leads have been important in championship games, Kirk, in the BCS era. Includes 16 games. Only, and you'll recall which team, Florida State last year, overcoming a halftime deficit to win the title. And the Ducks will be down 11 unless Ohio State can do something with the last 48 seconds. This is Samuel. Has a lane at the middle, bounces off a blocker, and is spun down across the 30 as a flag comes in late here. Thrown by the side judge from a long way away. What do you think, dude? Urban Meyer, you got 40 seconds.
During the return, holding, number 31, on the receiving team. 10 yards from the spot of the foul, first down.
Now you got worse field position. Do you let big number 12 sling it downfield as he does so well, take a shot?
I don't know. After that penalty, I think you'll just see him with an 11-point lead go in. But Cardale Jones has picked up where he left off against Alabama and Wisconsin. Again, so impressive with the decision-making, 10 of 15 for 171 yards. He's pulled it down now already 11 times for 44 yards. He scored that touchdown to give Ohio State a 21-7 lead. But a guy that has not played a ton of football, the moment has not been too big yet.
Not at all. In many ways, outplaying his Heisman Trophy winning counterpart in the first half. He just handed to Elliott. Not much.
And Oregon has all 3 timeouts. So if Urban Meyer is thinking about just trying to work the clock, you're Oregon, why not try to stop, if they're not going to come up with a first down, force Ohio State into a punt.
And rip at the football while you're at it.
Yeah.
Talked about Cardale Jones and virtual unknown outside of Columbus going in there against the Badgers. It was a comprehensive beatdown in the Big Ten championship game. And then in the Sugar Bowl, when they were underdogs against Alabama, how is this young guy going to fare against Saban's defense? Very, very well.
And as it turns out, Chris, I think the combination of Zeke Elliott and Cardale Jones with his group of wide receivers, I think America was shocked to see the athletic ability on the perimeter of the Ohio State offense in the game against Alabama. But Zeke Elliott had 220 yards against Wisconsin and 230 against Alabama.
Barrett, a tremendous passer, but Saban mentioned after the Sugar Bowl that Jones' arm strength, the deep ball, is an actual added dimension to this offense the last 3 games.
Well, you got to keep your safeties back. When you do that, Zeke Elliott runs the football.
He's running it again, and he's knocked down again, and the Ducks will stop the clock in 26 seconds before halftime. Well, 2 Hall of Fame coaches will collide. Coach K and Rick Pitino, Duke and Louisville, Saturday, noon Eastern on ESPN. Top 5 matchup in college basketball. If they can make a third down stop, the Ducks would at least force a punt here with their final timeout.
And that's the goal for Oregon. Try to stop them here, use your last timeout, force the punt. Either go after him or, and with Mariota, he doesn't need, remember last week in the Rose Bowl, they had some time. They tried to move the ball and he floated a ball and Florida State ended up intercepting it. But typically he doesn't need a lot of time to at least have maybe try to get into field goal range.
And that is a run short of the marker, so Oregon can stop it one last time with 20 seconds to go and force an Ohio State punt. Right now we're sitting on the same halftime score a year ago. It was Auburn over Florida State before Winston and the Noles caught fire, and that scoring flurry in the fourth quarter.
Again, this one is far from over.
Very often the Ducks will tell you, and Mark Helfrich says he sometimes knows after a few series how the game's going to go for his offense. After the first series, things look good, but now you'd have to believe there's some concern. Oregon players sometimes will remind the guys on the other side going off to halftime, hey fellas, 4-quarter game, get ready. But I don't know if they can say that tonight. Ohio State's defense has been strong, and they've been rotating guys.
And this offense isn't built to get behind and being obvious passing situations. They've got to stick to their game plan of running the football.
Johnston with Australian fans watching live on a Tuesday afternoon. He told me 6 Buckeye games were shown down there in Australia live.
Yeah. You're heading that way soon.
Very soon. Celebrating its 10th year, sponsoring the Good Hand Field Goal Nets. All-State makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. Since 2005, All-State has contributed more than $3.8 million in scholarship funds. So, 32-yard line, 68 yards away, no timeouts in 14 seconds. They use the timeouts to perhaps get this chance at a big play.
The longest field goal this year is 42 yards. So that tells you they've got a lot of work to do to try to get in the range.
Snyder can kick it from a little bit longer than 42 if the setting is there. Mariota flips it short, and the catch made by Stanford, who dives out of bounds with 9 seconds left.
Yeah, he not only makes the catch, picks up the first down, but gets out of bounds. They theoretically need to get to probably at the 35-yard line, maybe even the 30, to have a realistic chance.
They don't have a timeout, so if it's inbounds, they'd have to sprint down and try to spike it. And flip it short again over the middle, and now a trick play as Tyner flipped it back to Marshall, but Bosa knocks him down, and that'll be the final play of the first half. Ohio State ready for most everything in this first half, including that trickery. The majority of fans in here in Scarlet.
Bit slow, and then he really settled in. And look at tonight's All-State good hands play, and it really has a lot to do with his maturity. 8 defenders in coverage. They're taking away a lot of his options. So what does he do? He shows patience, which is the question. Could he do that as an inexperienced quarterback? He sure has. He's put his he's taken off a number of times and picking up some big yards. And here's another example. This time, instead of taking the yards, he extends the play with his athletic ability and then finds Devin Smith with his eyes downfield to make another vertical throw, something that Oregon, if they're going to have any chance of coming back and winning this game, they've got to take away the running game and get aggressive in trying to stop Ezekiel Elliott because of that balance.
Ducks got the 2 takeaways, and they got their way here by outplaying Florida State in the red zone of the Rose Bowl. But red zone execution from Mariota and company, not very good so far.
Yeah, I mean, as bad as it felt for Oregon, down 11 right now, twice down deep inside Ohio State territory. At the end of the half where he missed a tight end Bayless, and they just settled for the field goal. And remember, as you said, Chris, they had it down inside the 2-yard line and got stopped on that big 4th down. So if they came away with touchdowns in the red zone, we knew that would be important. It would be a different game right now, but they've been unable to execute.
Matt Logan to kick it away. Curtis Samuel at the goal line. be a touchback to Tom Rinaldi. Tom?
Chris, as impressive as Cardale Jones has been on the field, his demeanor has been just as consistent often. He's gone to the same place on the bench with the same expression on his face, regardless of whatever happened in the previous drive, whether it produced a touchdown or a turnover. It's something that Jones has worked very hard on. As offensive coordinator Tom Herman said, he does not let bad things spiral. He simply keeps playing, whether that's false bravado or not knowing any better. He's grateful that he puts bad plays behind him and just moves him forward, Chris.
You know, Tommy, I recognize after some of these drives him going down the bench as well and talking to the offensive linemen and some of the skill players.
Amazing after a third game to do that. Elliott breaks free. Zeke Elliott out across the 45.
It's a counter play where he follows the right guard, Pat Elfine, and Jeff Hireman, the tight end. Two perfect blocks, and then also great effort there by Michael Thomas, the receiver. But watch him follow the guard and the tight end. It opens it up perfectly, and there again, you give Zeke Elliott a little bit of room to work with. He is a big back with incredible acceleration.
Yeah, he's played more games than Archie Griffin and Eddie George and Keith Byers, but he's having one of the most productive seasons ever for an Ohio State back. Jones escapes and dives across midfield. They're trying to tackle Cardale Jones high, and it's not working well.
He didn't recognize this blitz, but he's able, because of his strength, to make it work. Now watch the blitz come late. You see how he didn't see it. He was going to go to the right and then come back left. And Tony Washington did a very nice job of disguising. Big part of Oregon's defense is disguising and then waiting to bring the pressure until very late. But Jones adjusts and still picks up yards.
He's got 53 on the ground to go with his 171 passing. This is Elliott marshaling forward for another first down.
I mean, Zeke Elliott is the key to the offense, especially with J.T. Barrett down. Just complements the passing of Jones and the arm strength and the skill of these wide receivers. Not only we talk so much about Devin Smith, but Michael Thomas and Jalen Marshall. That offensive line, boy, Ed Warner, the offensive line coach, has done a remarkable job with those guys up front, from the Virginia Tech game to where they are now.
Massive improvement. And Elliott, whose mom and dad were Missouri athletes, made the choice to go from St. Louis to Ohio State. Known as a goofball by his teammates. Kind of a happy-go-lucky guy, but he's all business on the field. Jones looking to throw on first down. Loops it down to the end zone. Thomas. Incomplete. A good one-on-one battle with the freshman Chris Cisse. Just missed it.
He catches the ball, but catches it out of bounds. He tried to get his right foot down, but Cisse, who has stepped in for Ifo Ekpreolamu, the ball comes down. See that right foot? So close, but out of bounds. Correct call again by this crew. That is a bang-bang play. Very, very close. Great effort by Thomas. Remember the catch that he made last week against Alabama.
Absolutely, on the Spencer double reverse touchdown pass. Elliott takes off again, works the middle, and gets close to a first down before Dargan dropped him. And the crowd says Zeke again in here.
Urban Meyer's mantra, whether he's at Bowling Green or Utah or Florida or now Ohio State, in a game like this, he challenges them to control things and get off to a fast start.
Third and short. He did not get the first down. Stopped by Tony Washington, so it's fourth down at the 33.
Tony Washington on the play, but Alex Bolducci also beating Jacoby Boren. Ohio State tried to go with that tempo, try to get Oregon out of position, but the Ducks did a nice job there on third and short.
So Meyer will try to press the advantage here and convert on this 4th and 1. Jones sneak, didn't get it the first time. Tries to get the corner, dives down near the marker. Did he get it? Oh, what a play by the young quarterback. He was stonewalled on the quarterback sneak, Kirk.
And Oregon does a good job. Christian French, 96, gets out there. The corner, Cisse goes low, but he's 6'5", 250. What are you going to do? You're either going to get run over by him, or he's athletic enough to go over top of you. Remember, 6'5", 250, up and over, knowing exactly where the first down marker is.
Christian French giving up contain there. The quarterback made him pay. Whistle before the snap. So the Ducks a chance to get off the field there, but once again Jones has the answer.
False start. Offense. 2 players, same time, not set. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Another look.
Go back to this 4th down. Oregon takes away. Boy, they got a good push again. But he has the speed to get around French. And again, the athletic ability. 250 pounds to get up in the air like that and go over the corner.
In his 3rd game. Seeing something truly amazing. Take it to Elliott. Pressured again. Delivers. Complete. And now a fight for the ball. The Ducks, do they take it away again? Yes! Marshall was right there with Danny Mattingly.
I think Rodney Hardrick got in there, the linebacker. Or is that, you're right, Mattingly. Boy, oh boy, Chris. Again, they come up with a stop. Another turnover to get the ball back to Mariota. They've done it all year. Lead the nation.
You said they give up a ton of yards. They backpedal, but they do this.
The ball's right into the arms of Marshall, and it just goes right out of his hands. And Mattingly, not giving up on the play, is right there. The freshman out of Spokane, Washington.
It'll go as an interception for Jones, but that's on Marshall.
Great heads-up play by Mattingly.
Buckeyes defense rose up after the first 2 fumbles, but the frustration from Meyer evident. The crystal ball retired after 16 years. This is the new National Championship trophy. Very attractive addition to somebody's trophy case. For Oregon, it would be the school's first national championship. And Mark Helfrich frustrated because that flurry of takeaways against the Seminoles led to 34 points, including a defensive score. Tonight, the first 2 takeaways, Buckeyes stopped them. Here's a 3rd opportunity. Mariota has good protection, loops it downfield, and Marshall is wide open and running free, and will not catch him. It can happen so quickly for the Ducks. 70 yards.
That's why Urban Meyer was so frustrated with that turnover. A chance to potentially put more points on the board. The turnover, and this time the Ducks do what they've done all year. 3rd in the nation with points off of turnovers. This time they capitalize.
A smile from Helfrich. You can see why the Ducks said they weren't overly concerned. Missing Carrington and Allen.
On the field was a touchdown. The previous play is under further review.
Are they going to check to see if he dropped the ball too early?
Oh boy, let's take another look.
I don't think he did.
Ooh, it's really close.
It was close.
He's really close.
It's a good catch by the replay booth. Now he broke the plane.
He begins to flip the ball out of his hand. Does he still have control right there, or is it coming out? Let's bring in Dave Kataya to interpret what Jack McDonald, the replay official, is looking at, Dave.
The key is he has to have control when any part of that ball breaks the plane of the goal line. This is really, really close. They're going to have an indisputable shot that that ball's coming out before that ball breaks the plane of the goal line. It sure looks like it's moving.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
I don't know, Dave. That is about as close as you can get in that situation to losing control of the ball.
I wouldn't have confirmed it. I would have stood with it.
Remember the Honey Badger for LSU?
Yeah.
Dropped the ball. They didn't catch it that time. Actually dropped it before it hit in the end zone. The SEC championship game with the Ducks. Are they going to go for 2 here? Try to cut it to 3. This is Taylor Haley, the holder, is the 3rd string quarterback, but the Bucks again ready for it. And 10 seconds. So cover 70 yards. And we said they're the quick strike kings, the cash in takeaway kings, and suddenly it's a 4-point game.
You've got a tight end in Bayless that's going to go here. You've got a receiver here that's going to freeze this young man. And then you've got the safety who ends up getting exploited here. He gets caught up in looking at the tight end. And when he moves with the tight end, it opens up a nice crease right behind him, in between the corner, Grant, and the safety, Tyvis Powell. So they use the tight end, Bayless, to get the eyes affected by Tyvis Powell, and it opens up a vertical seam. And Marcus Mariota knew exactly where he wanted to go with the ball. That play was designed to get the ball specifically to Byron Marshall, who, by the way, is starting to have a pretty good night. We wondered which receiver would step up with Carrington and Allen down. He now has 7 receptions and 146 yards and a touchdown.
Not a natural wide receiver, but a very gifted, productive guy. And again, the bobble from Marshall into the hands of Mattingly and the interception in the very next play. Suddenly, it's a tight game. Heather?
Guys, the mood in the Oregon locker room was very businesslike, very calm. No screaming, no rah-rah speeches. A lot of adjustments and talk about execution from the coaches. Coach Helfrich talked about defending Cardale Jones, the key, keeping a ceiling on those vertical routes. And then he talked about tempo, the need to get more, use it as a weapon. And he talked about converting on third down and not dropping passes, like we saw 2 third down drops in the first half. And Chris, the Ducks left the locker room. Players were yelling, "This is the national championship. We must earn it." I think they were listening after those couple of plays.
Inflection changing very quickly, Heather. But the Ohio State offense, Kirk, has really only stopped itself. The Ducks have really, they've taken the ball away 3 times, but they haven't stopped progress down the field.
That's right, and we'll see. This is where the game's going to start getting interesting, because this is where you, as a staff, you have a pretty good feel for how the defense is trying to stop you. Now the adjustments have been made throughout the first half, and especially at halftime, and now it comes down to execution. We've seen both these offenses struggle at times with their own mistakes, whether it's been a turnover or a penalty.
Cardale Jones has been so calm. New father, his daughter Chloe, born a couple of months ago, youngest of 6 from a very tough part of Cleveland, Ohio. Nothing that he's done has surprised him, Kirk. Everybody else may have been surprised. He expected this when he signed with Ohio State. In fact, he thought it might happen a little bit sooner.
Yeah, he won the job, the backup job behind Braxton Miller out of spring.
We'll go back to Elliott. And this has been a huge part of Ohio State's offense. They have not been able to stop Elliott.
We knew coming in that was going to be the key. Does a nice job here. That offensive line doing a good job of sustaining their blocks. And they're pulling either big tight ends, or you're seeing tackles come around. We've seen Jeff having a hard time locating Elliott.
This time Jones keeps it, and they're ready for him. They drop him for a loss. It was Cisse off the corner quickly.
Cisse is who he went over top of, and Cisse with his size at 185 pounds against a quarterback at 250, he's got to go low. That time he wrapped him up. He got to his ankles and wrapped him up.
Duck corners did such a good job against Rashad Green and the Florida State receivers. Cisse, a guy pressed into duty because of Ekpe Olumo's knee injury before the Rose Bowl. Second down, Elliott again works the middle. Muscles free, takes a big shot that spins across the 45. It would be 3rd and short. Took a big blow here.
It's a physical run by Elliott. He took a hit, but he also delivered a hit. Dargan came in there, number 4, but Elliott's running right now with authority.
He's out. Curtis Samuel's in the pistol on 3rd and 3, and now he'll shift. When in doubt, give it to 12 gauge, and the quarterback is hit. I think he's short, about a yard away from the marker.
He sure is. Much better effort there by the Oregon defensive line.
Has Urban thinking about it?
If he is, he'll do it fast. He's trying to see how far he has to go. It looks about maybe half a yard.
On his side of the field, up 4. With a 250-pound quarterback, he's going to roll the dice here, or just try to draw him offside, maybe.
He prides himself on, again, that aggressive nature. He's in his own territory here.
Ruling on the field, quarterback's knee hit the ground and the ball was short of the line to gain. Previous play is under further review.
Now they'll take a look and see if he was in fact down before forward progress was stopped.
Still short. See if you can see the ball.
Don't see his knee down.
Yeah. That's a great look at it there. I think they thought he was down there. Well, you can't tell where
there is a knee. Where's the ball?
Yeah, you can't tell on that view where the spot would be.
If the knee hits there, the ball would be, I think, very near the 48. Right now they've got it spotted back to the 47.
Well, the 48 would give him a first down.
Let's bring Dave Kataya back in. This is a very sort of unusual replay look for this Big 12 crew, Dave. How would you see this?
Well, you've got the ball there, and it appears that by that shot the ball's over, but we don't have a clear shot of both the knee and the ball at the same time.
Right.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Fourth down.
I think the views there were tough. You know, in a couple you could see the knee down, but you couldn't necessarily have a definitive viewpoint on where the spot would be.
Again, I wouldn't confirm that. It would be stance for me.
Offense on the field, though, at 4th and 1.
They've struggled when he's gone under center on those short yardages.
Ducks have been a very, very good 3rd and short, 4th and short defense all year. He's in the shotgun now.
Gutsy decision here.
Sure is. If in fact they run a play. Jones to Elliott. First down.
Well, Urban Meyer, much like Mark Helfrich, prides himself on being aggressive, takes chances, and if you go away from that, you're not being true to who you are. They've done that this year, so why change? Just because the magnitude of the game. That's their approach as a staff.
And it looks great when you make it.
It sure does.
3 for 3 on 4th down. It's a little bit deflating for Oregon's defense.
I think he'll take a shot here against man.
Yep. Jones. Backpedaling. Loses the ball. It's out. It is run over there. Oregon has recovered the first disastrous play for Cardale Jones. Eric Armstead jumped on the ball. Tyson Coleman
trying to keep it alive. He's had so much success doing that, Chris, but once he's outside of the pocket, he's got to just get rid of the football. The ball maybe just came out of his hand.
What is it with the self-fumbles against Oregon's defense? Jameis Winston fell down, dropped the ball.
Yeah, the ball just came out of his hand.
But we've seen this 2 games in a row against Oregon's defense.
It looked like from the first shot that Coleman might have had an impact on the play, but he just fighting to try to make something happen. The ball just came out of his hands. The 4th turnover now for Ohio State.
And the Ducks suddenly in a position to perhaps reclaim the lead. Marshall decides to take it wide. It's a block from Freeman on the edge. Such a challenge to play this offense in a sudden change defensive mode.
And a different look with 2 running backs in that backfield. Not Freeman, but also Marshall, who's a receiver, but a guy who went over 1,000 yards last year. And it's a good changeup and a good look to be able to change the vantage point for these linebackers and safeties.
Freeman has a first down. Wow. Jalen Marshall bobbling the ball, madly the pick. A 1-play touchdown drive. And now Cardale Jones just drops the ball. 4 turnovers for Ohio State.
And Mariota has a tempo going. He's trying to strike.
2-back look again. Tyner had nowhere to run. Pushing the pile backwards was Bosa and Bennett.
It's a pretty good job there by Bennett and Bosa, just getting separation and getting upfield. It's the most turnovers we've had in a championship. Going back to 03 and 05, Ohio State already 4 tonight.
Hurricanes against Ohio State.
Yeah.
Bucks back in the red zone again. Mariota's got it. Follows a block and accelerates down near the 5. He'll be 2 yards short of a first down.
That's a design play to get him on the edge of this defense. He has such acceleration coming off of that mesh point with Tyner. Gets around the corner, picks up a block by Freeman. Gives him a chance here now on 3rd and 4.
It's been a huge struggle on 3rd down tonight. Just 2 of 8. Mariota loops into the end zone. Out of bounds. Bayless went up high for it. Buckeyes, Apple and Bell were right there to shove him out of bounds. 4th down.
He wanted Byron Marshall, who was in motion out in the flat, but was taken away by Josh Perry, so he had to come all the way back. A dangerous throw, but he gets it in there to Bayless, and he's pushed out of bounds by Eli Apple.
Very, very alert play by the freshman from New Jersey. So Helfrich will go for a short field goal attempt from Aiden Schneider.
And another red zone. It's not a touchdown for Oregon.
He's from 23. He was good earlier from 26. Just slides it in that right upright. So Ohio State's defense prevents a go-ahead touchdown, forces a field goal, but it's a 1-point game. How will Jones respond after this miscue? We'll find out.
The 2015 College Football Playoff National Championship is brought to you by Gatorade. Gatorade knows it all begins within. Win from within. Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy. And the Quicksilver Card from Capital One. Earn unlimited 1.5% cash back. Every purchase, every day.
Pretty cool inside the windows of AT&T Stadium. Our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Whether you're going for it from a few yards out or from miles away, go with the tire with superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. There's been a lot of going for it tonight on both sides. Now, Kirk, as the Ducks kick it off down just 10 quick points in the first part of this 3rd quarter. How does Cardale Jones, who Tom mentioned, has shaken up?
Play caller Tom Herman's got to look to see what he's most comfortable with to try to get him back into that rhythm that he was in earlier and his offense was in earlier.
Hogan's boot is a touchback. Cardale Jones and the Buckeyes back to work, but now it's a 1-point game. All 4 turnovers in this game have been by Ohio State. There was the fumbled exchange. Jones and Elliott. And Corey Smith was going to have a huge gain down near the 10. He coughed up the ball. And then the 2 turnovers here in the 3rd quarter. The interception out of the hands of Marshall into Mattingly. And that self-fumble, untouched fumble.
Yeah, and again, the last one especially was self-inflicted, but Oregon has been doing this all year. It's who they are. It's what they feed off of. It'll be very interesting to see how Cardale Jones responds to that last play when he was out on the field.
Elliott cuts it back and plows forward. Nice first down gain. Tom, what's the reaction over there to the Buckeyes sidelines?
Chris, you talk about how Cardale Jones will respond. Interesting exchange with him and Urban Meyer along the bench. He came off the field. Meyer asked him what happened. Jones simply said, the ball fell out of my hand. Went, sat back down on the bench, seemed to forget it right away. It seemed Meyer was more dispirited by what happened and lingered in the moment longer than Jones did. We'll see how he responds now next series back.
Has that ability to do this.
Elliott has a first down. If the Ducks can't stop number 15, it may not matter as much for Jones.
Well, yeah, I mean, what do you do? Here's LeBron watching a game.
He knows. No matter what the sport is, turnovers are killer.
That's right.
But I say positive. We're still winning the game.
That's right. Always. But, hey, Chris, you talked about what do you do if you're Jones, if you're Tom Herman? How do you settle down? Obviously, you get Elliott established. You try to run the football. Oregon knows that. They want to try to take that away. There's Tom Herman, who'll be off to Houston tomorrow to become the head coach.
Empty backfield and a first down throw. Thomas into Bucks territory at the 45. That was a nice dart from Jones.
It sure was, and it's great spacing. A nice throwing lane here for Jones. Tight end Vanette takes the linebacker with him, just opened it up, made it very easy for Jones to throw in rhythm. One of his favorite targets, as we've seen in recent weeks, Michael Thomas, who's going to go out.
Top of the screen is Devin Smith, who has just that one catch, but it was the big one for 45 yards. Elliott motions out and gets the swing pass. Cannot get away from Eric Dargan.
They motion him out, trying to outflank this Oregon defense, but really good recognition and speed by Eric Dargan, who had a great Rose Bowl game. Coleman trying to get off his block. A poor effort by Devin Smith, but an outstanding job in space against Elliott by Eric Dargan. I really feel that Dargan, Tony Washington, these guys have become leaders for this defense, especially with Ifo Ekpre-Olumu out. Hardrick, Washington, Dargan, Derek Malone, tremendous leadership from some seniors.
Dontre Wilson into the game now. He motions across, but it's Elliott again. Exploding up the middle, 10 more yards.
There's that same play. Watch Nick Vanette coming around, picks up the linebacker, Joe Walker. Boom, right there. Elliott gets underneath that block. This is something at Ohio State it's become their bread and butter tonight. A counter trap where they bring the H-back or the tight end back to pick up a linebacker or a nose guard. That time it was the linebacker Walker, and it's been springing Elliott all night.
Woody Hayes days, 3 yards in a cloud of dust for the Buckeyes. This is about 10 yards and rubber pellets off the field for Elliott. 31. Zeke has it again, and he's got another first down inside the 35.
Yeah, but this Oregon defense, they're getting a push on the short yardage situations on 3rd and 4th down. It's been very challenging for the Ohio State offensive line. As good as they've looked on 1st and 2nd down, they get into 3rd and short, and the line of scrimmage is going backwards. That time, that was Elliott's just raw power and effort to pick up that first down.
Curtis Samuel spelling Elliott is behind Jones. Odell wanted to take a shot downfield. It was covered, so he dumps it down to the freshman, who gains 8.
And again, that's what he's been coached to do in this game against this kind of defense. Oregon does a good job of taking away a lot of the receivers downfield, and they want to test your patience. They, that time, dropped 7 defenders in zone, took away all of his options downfield, so he just checked it down. Remember, the check down and using his feet are his 2 weapons against that type of defense.
How about, Kirk, the poise and execution for Jones on this drive right off the fumble? There's that push again.
Yeah, they get into short yardage. And it's a combination of Oregon pinning their ears and shooting gaps and getting off of blocks, and Ohio State not being able to get any footing up there. See that push right there? He's now Pat Elflein, who's on 1st and 10, opening things up. That time, a really good job by Oregon of pushing him backwards. Linebackers are fighting downhill, and the defensive line's holding their spot. There's Buckner out on a crucial 3rd down.
And on one knee, gasping for air. That's what Oregon typically does to an opponent's defensive line. Jones takes off and muscles down for another first down. It's tough to stop a 250-pounder going straight ahead.
Well, they did it. Oregon does a good job of, again, trying to confuse him. Keep an eye on the nose guard. Watch him push and then drop. You see him right there? He's taking away the throw that Cordell Jones wanted to make. So instead of throwing it into his chest, he comes off of it and decides to, again, the feet or the check down. This time, it's the feet for the first down.
Not many quarterbacks are overpowering a 310-pound nose guard, though. Valducci got knocked backwards. Jones fires a low throw. It's caught by Marshall.
Billy Price pulling around trying to pick up a block, but these 2 outside linebackers, these backups, Christian French And also Prevo, 86, maybe their best edge pass rusher. Did a pretty good job of mixing up who's coming and who's dropping.
Final minute now of the third quarter as the Buckeyes are getting close to the red zone. So enormous whether or not they get 7 or 3 out of this drive. Elliott cuts it back and bursts down inside the 10, first and goal. Another huge game, approaching 200 yards.
And Billy Price, the left guard, and Jeff Hireman, the tight end, pulling around again. And the patience from Zeke Elliott on these runs and the vision are the reason he's able to pop through there. And again, of course, he has outstanding quickness and acceleration for his size.
Overshadowed throughout the Big Ten season by Melvin Gordon and so many other good backs, but this guy has come on very strong in the last half of the season. He's got it again. Elliott! Touchdown, Ohio State on the final play of the quarter.
Plays, 75 yards, 6 minutes and 39 seconds. He follows now the right guard and the tight end. The same exact play, opens it up, and there's Zeke Elliott getting that second level and showing the strength to get into the end zone.
Nance atone for a couple mistakes as an offense and reclaim some momentum. Number 8 will be down 8 heading to the final quarter in Arlington. Back after these messages, you are watching the College Football Playoff National Championship game presented by AT&T. Guys back on top by 8 now as we begin the final quarter of the first playoff national championship game, and a third straight 200-yard game for Ezekiel Elliott, a sophomore out of St. Louis.
We were talking at the break there. It's amazing to think that Carlos Hyde, who now plays for the 49ers, was a starting running back and had a huge year last year for Ohio State. 4 offensive linemen, 3 of which started this past weekend in a playoff game.
As rookies.
As rookies. That's what they lost. And Braxton Miller, who went over 1,000 yards rushing. They lost all of that and came into this year, and Zeke Elliott has emerged as one of the greatest individual rushing seasons in Ohio State football history. And that's saying something.
It sure is. Clemson booting it to that left corner. And this is Nelson at the goal line. Knocked down across the 20. So the Mariota family, younger brother Matt, these folks, looking on nervously, a lot of faith in their son, and a quarter to work with. But Oregon's defense is the bigger concern for their team right now.
Yeah, you're right. I look at the family and the parents of Marcus, and I think whatever you did, can you pass that on to the rest of us that are trying to parent? Marcus is one of the most quality young men I've ever met.
And Mariota steps up, fires across the middle, caught by Keenan Lowe to the 42-yard line. The emotion shown by Mariota as the first Hawaiian-born Heisman winner. Won a lot of fans that day in New York, didn't he?
He sure did.
Freeman, he struggled. The freshman didn't have a great Rose Bowl and showed some hesitation there, Kurt.
I think Ohio State set the edge to this defense. I really think this drive is a signature moment for Marcus Mariota in the season that he has had, the numbers that he's put up, but now in the national championship in the fourth quarter, down 8. This is an opportunity to really add to his legacy.
He delivers. Tip broke it up beautifully as Lee, the linebacker, prevented a completion to a streaking Stanford.
I think Darren Lee is probably the one player on the Ohio State defense that's improved the most. Often blitzes. They ask him for versatility, sitting back also in coverage.
They play fast on third down, and Mariota delivers. Incomplete. Again, he was trying to work the far sideline to Marshall. And Monty Reeves in coverage, fourth down.
That all goes back to that second down play. The play by Darren Lee. Because if you get Oregon to third down and long, they're not built for that. Their system is just not built. They're built on deception and play action. You get them back in 3rd and 10 when you know they're going to throw. It's a completely different situation and very challenging. As good as Mariota is, it's more about the scheme.
Seen a lot more of Elon Wheeler than we usually do in an Oregon game. Hunter moves Marshall over to the 21, takes it on the run, and is dropped right there. And now falls back on Ezekiel Elliott and an Ohio State offense to protect an 8-point lead. From back a decade, Kirk, Ohio State has been perfect in these situations. 98-0, an 8-point lead in the fourth quarter. This is Jalen Marshall on the end around. Good first down game. That Ducks defensive line was so active early, but the big guys, DeForest Buckner, Eric Armstead, 290-pounders, Armstead, they seem to be wearing down in this.
Yeah, it's been a battle up front. And you're right, early in this game, Armstead, who's coming off now, he was dominant in the first few series, but he and Buckner with their size, both around 6'7", 6'8", 290, but they have not had that same effect.
Elliott cuts it back, gallops free across the 40, another first down. Ezekiel Elliott has been on a 3-game run that's in large part while Cardale Jones had been so successful at quarterback. 230, a Sugar Bowl record against the Crimson Tide, that 85-yarder longest run against a Saban defense ever. And now 215 more, and he could be headed for a 300-yard game.
He could. He's averaging about 9 yards a carry. And that last drive, boy, it was the offensive line and Elliott that really took him down the field.
There's a first down throw and a completion. Thomas tiptoeing, still alive, and now knocked out at the 36. Ducks claim he stepped down near midfield. But the Buckeyes are rolling again.
A nice adjustment. What Ohio State saying to Oregon, if you're going to drop a lot of people, we're going to throw the ball underneath.
He skidded to a stop.
He did. He sure did. He stayed in bounds. But they're, instead of trying to always get it downfield, now they're giving something for Oregon to have to be concerned about with the underneath throw. That tightens up the coverage. Then you have a better chance, if you need it, to try to get behind him.
Corey Smith, the receiver, motions back, and they hand it to him, and Smith around the left end. Another explosive play. That last one, 23 yards, Kirk.
At that time, Ezekiel Elliott blocking.
He's not afraid to do that. He actually has a passion about blocking.
I know. They actually, the coaches, when you talk to them about his greatest strength, they'll say how physical he is without the ball is one of the first things they bring up.
He's got the ball. He's well strung out by the Oregon defense and knocked down after a short gain. 3rd and 4 now. And we'll spot it back. It'll be 5 yards the Buckeyes need here. They can begin to work the clock just a little bit as they try to pound away in the Ducks.
It's still a one-possession game. Big drive for Oregon and their defense to stay in this football game and give Mariota some hope to try to get back in and be in a position to tie the game.
On 3rd down, an empty backfield, and Jones has all kinds of time and delivers to Marshall. First down near the 10.
Two things. The offensive line doing a great job of giving him time. They only rushed 3, which means there's 8. Look how tight those windows are. The patience by Cardale Jones to sit and wait for eventually that window and Marshall to settle down in it perfectly on another 3rd down conversion.
Back in the red zone. So they get 19 yards on that 3rd down play. Elliott's still out. Samuel to the left of Jones. And they give it to the freshman from Brooklyn, who's also a physical runner, down to the 5.
A true freshman who Urban Meyer in camp right away recognized his potential. He feels that he'll be one of the better backs that he's seen in a long, long time. But right now with Elliott, who's only a sophomore, may have to wait his turn.
16 yards per carry in high school for Curtis Samuel. But yeah, Zeke's back in there in 2nd and 5. Yeah, not the cleanest snap by Jones, but Elliott able to dive forward for a 1st and goal, or it's close. Let's see where they spotted here.
Yeah. Well, that's Ohio State's 34th play in the second half. Oregon has run 10 in the second half.
Hit them hard and see how they fall. Never let that team get the ball. Right out of the fight song, Kirk. That's the game plan.
That's the offense. That's what we're watching.
And 1st and goal. Elliott again barrels in.
And it's Elliott behind that offensive line. Gets in for another touchdown. His 3rd of the night.
76-yard touchdown drive in 9 plays. After the Ducks and Mariota had closed it to a 1-point game. Back-to-back long touchdown marches by Ohio State. Lead back to 15 with 9:44 to play. Pure muscle in scarlet and gray. Oregon is back in trouble. And Carlos Hyde gives a hug for the man who's taken over the reins at that position. TV hits on the ESPN networks.
This is Urban Meyer trying to get the kickoff coverage team ready to go.
Aren't they always ready to go?
Yeah.
Just pride and joy.
Yeah, look at him, though.
You ever seen anybody practice with more detail, situations, and kickoff coverage?
No. Well, he prides himself in special teams, always has.
Red zone, Kirk, you said it was going to be perhaps the deciding factor. Buckeyes, 4 trips, 4 touchdowns. Ducks, 4 trips, 1 touchdown. 2 field goals. And the loss of downs. Nelson fakes it to Marshall, and he faked out Ohio State. A flag comes in as the freshman is still running. So Ohio State bought the fake handoff to Marshall, but a flag may nullify the big return. Urban should have told him, look out for that. Flag was way back at the 20-yard line.
It was thrown. Was typically a.
During the return, holding number 33 of the receiving team, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, 1st down.
You know, if you're Marcus Mariota and you're Oregon, with the potential of what their offense can do, we mentioned typically they'll score in a lot of times under 2 minutes, under 3 minutes. So you're down 15, 2 possessions, 9:32 to go. You've got a quarterback that's as good as we've seen in a long time, even though it hasn't been their night, especially up front. They've got to try to still believe a quick strike gets him right back in this game.
Instead, they throw it short here to Bayless. Of course, it was the 70-yard touchdown pass to Byron Marshall, their first play of the 3rd quarter, that changed the tone.
They have been on the sidelines most of this second half. Ohio State not only moving the ball, but possessing the ball.
Flag down before the snap.
False start. Players were not set. Offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Oregon trying to do something they have not done in a long time. Come from 2 touchdowns plus down in the 4th quarter. It's been more than a decade since that happened.
It's probably been more than a decade that they've been down a couple touchdowns in the 4th quarter.
At least in the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
It's Tyner turning the corner. They do get a 1st down. Now they'll try to use tempo.
Yeah, now this is where they've got to try to their rhythm is about getting the first down and then trying to find a matchup, trying to exploit a matchup, whether it's in the running game or trying to get the ball outside. Ohio State trying not to give up the big one.
Mariota throws complete. Nope. Incomplete. Looking on the far side, and Mariota was chased by Bosa and is down after the play. Joey Bosa, sophomore sack specialist there. 13.5 in the season. Didn't get to Mariota before the throw.
No, he got after him after the throw, and it came down on top of him with a lot of weight and a lot of momentum. Right on his shoulder, his throwing shoulder. And you can hear the Oregon offensive line right now. They're not happy with Joey Bosa. There are a few of them right now talking to Bosa.
No flag thrown. Bosa just after the throw made.
The reason there's a flag out there is because the offensive line was getting after Joey Bosa, and there was some back and forth going on between Oregon and Ohio State.
So Jeff Locke,
after the play,
sophomore,
unsportsmanlike conduct, number 75 of the offense. Penalty being forced half the distance to the goal. It will be second down.
That's Jake Fisher, the senior left tackle, trying to stick up for his quarterback, but a costly 15 yards.
Saw Joey Bosa say, "I'm playing football." He's talking right now to Cameron Hunt, number 78.
If you nothing wrong with the hit between two very high profile
players? In super slow motion, it was, it's a play where he's following through, he's chasing him, he puts his body on him, and he brings him down. It was not a deliberate late hit.
2nd and 22. He's taking very, very few, if any, meaningful snaps in his career, and they misfire again.
Ball start. Number 73 offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Ducks moving backwards and unraveling a bit here.
And Marcus is throwing, trying to test that shoulder to see if he can get back out there.
And a look at the hit. Ball out. Bosa.
It's the follow through.
He drove him down pretty good.
Yeah, but he was on top of it, and the momentum of both Mariota and Bosa made it look a lot worse.
Locke, meanwhile, thrust into duty in his end zone, scrambles out, throws over the middle and incomplete. Raekwon McMillan was after him. Ducks with 4 penalties, including the one on the return, face 3rd and 27 now.
Yeah, Locke, who doesn't have a lot of experience. It's the freshman McMillan coming in. He's attempted 27 passes. Mariota back in, but now 3rd and forever.
From his end zone, Mariota is complete, but Stanford is short of the first down. Did they gain enough that Elfrich is going to go for it here? Down 15. 8:15 to go.
Well, he's sitting out the punt team. Surprised me, to be honest. I mean, I think at this point, 8 minutes, down 15 points.
Can't stop Elliott.
Yeah, your defense is struggling. Ohio State's going to run the football.
This could be a fake. Now they shift that out there. Locke is still in the game. The backup quarterback was in the punter's position after the shift, and the Buckeyes called timeout. Spotted over there by Meyer.
Yeah, Urban Meyer said, call a quick timeout. With Locke out there, you always have a chance to try to make something happen.
So we'll see. He just said punt, if you could read his lips, right after this.
2015 College Football Playoff National Championship is brought to you by AT&T, presenting sponsor of the College Football Playoff National Championship game, and in part by Honda. Start something special. Northwestern Mutual, proud official partner of the College Football Playoff National Championship game, and Taco Bell, bringing you the first ever student section at the College Football Playoff. Live Mas.
As much as he hates to do it, Mark Helfrich will apparently give the ball back to this Ohio State offense after Urban Meyer sniffed out the potential fake. The punter Wheeler is back there. Fair catch made by Marshall at the 38. The Ducks have another takeaway in them. If they don't, it's looking grim for the folks from Eugene. Buckeyes up 15 midway fourth. This first college football playoff national championship game presented by AT&T. Buckeyes 740 away from claiming their piece of history. Down here in the state of Texas, there were folks miffed when the Buckeyes jumped from 5th to 4th over TCU and stayed ahead of Baylor. Elliott cuts it back. I think they have more than validated the decision by that 12-person committee.
I think they silenced their critics with the way they played against Alabama and again tonight against Oregon.
Why would Cardale Jones play? Well, a couple of 26-yard passes from deep in his own end got him going, and then Elliott, after 4 quiet carries, has been unstoppable since.
What a great combination, a lethal combination. The balance, 268 yards on the ground, 242 yards through the air.
Elliott, he's trying to just break the final will of the Ducks defense. Another first down in midfield.
Going back to how this game started with Oregon getting off of blocks, crowding the line of scrimmage. They're still crowding the line of scrimmage. But from about midway through the first quarter on, Ohio State's offensive line has made adjustments, and they have just moved that entire defensive line and the linebackers out of there and opened up some big running lanes for Elliott.
At a career high against Bama. He's now beaten that. 234. Workhorse. Short gain there. Ezekiel Elliott, part of that very talented class of sophomores. You look around this roster, Urban Meyer's recruiting class, as Elliott now is closing in on the Heisman Trophy winner Eddie George. Yeah, he's played more games than all of those guys. That's fair, but look at the production.
He had a broken thumb in camp, had a cast on it for the first 6 weeks or so. He has been a different back since the line has been able to build continuity, and also he's gotten healthier.
Folks, remember, this is a very young team. They don't lose too many guys. In fact, none of the underclassmen, Meyer says, will declare. Half the impact players on this team are freshmen or sophomores.
Yeah, and you knew that Urban Meyer, once he got to Ohio State with the tradition and the resources, he's going to recruit incredibly well. And, you know, he's now starting to build that foundation. But you're right, Chris, the majority of this football team, awfully young. A lot of people thought maybe at the beginning there with the Braxton Miller injury, maybe they're a year away. But boy, from the Virginia Tech game on, they have really come together.
Ducks, meanwhile, desperate for a stop on 3rd and 7. Jones takes off. Knocked down near the marker. He'll be a yard short. Hardrick on the tackle. And the Buckeyes again face a 4th down. All the linemen are pointing, go for it. I think Meyer's in the same mind.
Yeah, he's with him. He's not hesitating. Remember, this has been a problem area for Ohio State. Oregon's done a very good job of getting penetration in these short yardage situations.
It's a long yard to continue to chew clock and close in on a national championship. And we'll spend a timeout.
Delay. Offense. 5-yard penalty.
They didn't spend a timeout, Kirk. They decided not to go for it.
Yeah. That's a little bit surprising. Not, again, conventional wisdom, not surprising, but Urban Meyer, you know, you're thinking maybe he's thinking this is a situation where you get a first down, maybe that's lights out.
Yeah, they made 3 for 3 4th downs and have a 250-pound quarterback, but they'll send apparently the Aussie Johnston out, try to pin Mariota back very deep here. So the lineman not able to convince the head coach. He became a little conservative there for a second, didn't he, Urban, with the third title
15
on the brink here.
15-point lead, 4:23 to go. You can understand why.
Yeah. Johnston does that backspin. You drop the point, and you kick a sand wedge, and Lloyd makes the fair catch at the 15-yard line. 4:17 to play. Ducks down 15. Goodyear with the aerial coverage. Whether you're going for it from a few yards out or from miles away, go with the tire with superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. Taco Bell student section, they've been on their feet the entire night, as you'd expect, and they are fired up. Some people thought this Ohio State team might be a year away. They were 40-1 long shots in Vegas to win this title after Braxton Miller was injured preseason. Mariota, as a flag comes out, he spins free, fires to Stanford, who made a great one-handed grab on the sidelines, likely to come back, but a wonderful grab by the guy who had to drop early in the game.
Yeah, great catch. Right tackle Crosby on the hold. But
number 73 offense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
That was a heck of a catch.
Kirk, we thought with the difference in the BCS era, the shorter layoff, rust wouldn't be as big of a factor. We thought wear and tear, emotional and physical wear and tear might be a real factor in this game. You take another look at the one-handed snag by Stanford. And I thought Ohio State burning a lot more emotional and physical fuel in their semifinal game against Bama to play, but they have dug deep tonight. No sign of it, really. Mariota trying to escape. Slides down across the 15.
I think that's a fair point. I think they were really on a mission to play with a chip on their shoulder against Alabama. They had heard so much about the SEC and Alabama and Nick Saban that when they won, they had that breakthrough moment. It was very euphoric for them. It's been impressive to see them get back down to earth 11 days later.
It was in Columbus last week. I just had my doubts that they could go 60 minutes and have a full fuel tank. But, yeah, I think they have. Huge blow delivered on Tyner over there.
I think a lot of people have looked at Ohio State and look at them as a big, slow, methodical team. If you've watched them play the last few weeks against teams that have a perception of being fast, Grant lowering the boom there on Tyner, I think they've not only looked good, they look very, very athletic.
3rd and 11. Mariota far side. Another pass out of a Duck receiver's hands. That was Stanford who just made the tough one that was nullified by penalty. Duran Grant defending again. 4th and 11. Ducks clearly have to make their final stand right here. Mariota, high throw incomplete. A defense sent out on the field after 4 turnovers by the Ohio State offense has limited the Ducks to 20 points. An offense that had scored 42 at least in all 9 of their wins since the Arizona loss. What a job by those guys right there.
No doubt about it. The defensive line, a big night. They knew they'd be tested. They knew they'd be challenged against the tempo. Great job by Luke Fickell, Chris Ash, rotating guys early in the game to try to maintain their strength, their agility, durability for 4 quarters. I think that defensive line was the difference on the Ohio State defense throughout the game.
We take over at the 14, trying to punctuate this victory. Safe play, and Jones stopped for a short gain. Ford post-game show after the game. And we'll jump in and analyze this. No doubt we'll hear from the principals as Urban Meyer is closing in on his 3rd national title. 2 in Florida. Once beating the Buckeyes, once beating Oklahoma. And now Meyer concerned about the play clock. Why it wasn't reset. He says he's calmed down a bit, far less intense than when he won those titles at Florida.
This is a good time to just one final time about Cardale Jones. Again, I think it's unprecedented in this sport to do what he has done, to win the backup job to Braxton Miller out of spring, to then lose the backup job in fall camp. Braxton Miller goes down. JT Barrett emerges as a star. That's tough, man. That is a very hard thing to do, to see. You know, you're happy for a JT Barrett, a buddy of yours. You're disappointed and discouraged. It's hard to continue to prep. It's hard to keep your head in it. He clearly has gotten better as the year has gone on, and when his number was called, he steps up against Wisconsin in a Big Ten championship game, Alabama last week, and now this biggest stage in a national championship game. And not only the way he's played, it's as if he's been there for a couple years with the poise he plays with.
Elliott barrels forward. Never seen a story like this in college football history. And I said it, no other team but Ohio State could lose 2 quarterbacks and have a guy this gifted to step in, and apparently this ready for his big moment.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And we should say that Ohio State's not here without JT Barrett.
No way.
Braxton Miller goes down with an injury. They lose to Virginia Tech. They give up 7 sacks. It's about as bad as it could be week 2. And they pick up the pieces. Ed Warner gets the offensive line in position to get better. Ezekiel Elliott emerges, and JT Barrett became a superstar and a great leader for this team.
Elliott one more time, stretching for the first down marker. Should be 1st and goal.
Also need to say about Marcus Mariota, all the years of following college football, maybe my most favorite player that I've had a chance to cover. Just a class act, does it the right way, and has meant so much to the Oregon Ducks. And just the last 3 years, the way he's led them in the 41 starts that he's had. And obviously his skill set is unique and special, but it's his grace, to me, that really separated him from any other player I've really ever covered.
Perfectly said. Wonderful ambassador for his home state of Hawaii, as he said at the Heisman ceremony, for the entire Polynesian community, and obviously for Oregon. They are short by a few inches. It is 4th down. And Kurt, we think, and everybody else does it, he's played his final game for the Ducks. This is where he began his career. He didn't play, but he was dressed when Oregon lost to LSU here in what was eventually his redshirt season. And his career will end with disappointment, but did not tarnish the legacy.
Not at all.
Jones under center on 4th down. And they apparently have drawn the Ducks offside. Miscues were a part of this game for Oregon throughout. They didn't have the turnovers, but some crucial penalties and drop passes.
Offside. Defense contacted the neutral zone.
That's one of those.
Half the distance to the goal.
It's one of those where you save it for a certain point in the game and go hard count, get them to jump. Also need to mention the job that not just Urban Meyer has done, but his staff. Luke Fickell was under fire last year. I mean, under fire for the way his defense played at the end of the year against Michigan and Clemson. They brought in Chris Ash, the 2 of them, and the defensive staff. They have faced the three Heisman finalists in 3 straight games, and they've beaten all 3 of them.
1st and goal, Elliott. Twisting, fighting, didn't get there. Fickell coaches the linebackers as well, Kirk, one of the most improved units on this defense. They've really struggled in recent years, but not this group this year.
No, not at all. He's and a former Ohio State player. He started 4 years at nose guard. So I don't think anybody bleeds scarlet and gray more than Luke Fickell. So I'm sure it's a big night for him and a big year for him. You can see he's letting him, usually tries to be very calm, but right now he's letting some of his emotions out. Probably been pinned up for over 12 months.
It's the Buckeyes who've run off 83 plays, and as you see DeForest Buckner, the stud defensive end for Oregon, limping off the field. They just wore down that group up front, beat them up. And Elliott had lots of room to run. Another career high, 245 yards. See if they let him pay it off with another touchdown here. You could run the play clock way down if you want to. Elliott dodged the eye of this national championship win. And they'll fill in the rest.
No doubt about it.
Wow. What a 3-game run for this team, for this quarterback,
and for that running back. Fourth touchdown of the night.
What a strong last month for this conference.
Yeah. January 1st
for these guys.
Yep.
Mariota escapes. This will be the final play of the game. Heaves it. And it's not fitting. It ends with an interception. And the Ohio State Buckeyes are the first national champions of the playoff era. Still shooting the confetti into the air. And in this blizzard, the Buckeyes are national champions. Urban Meyer for a third time to Tom Rinaldi.
Chris, thank you very much. Urban, you labeled your pursuit of the championship the chase. Tonight, where's it taking you?
The chase is complete. It's done. It's over. They accepted their final mission, their final assignment, and their final directive, and they did it. That was our whole mantra this entire last couple weeks. Job well done, and we're very grateful. Thanks.
We tried to chronicle it, but how would you describe what this team overcame this season?
One of the great stories in college football history of closeness, of team, of selflessness and strain. And this will go down as one of the great stories in college football history.
How do you define what Ezekiel Elliott and Cardale Jones gave you tonight?
And our defense. Our defense to slow that guy down. That guy is one of the best players in America. And we tackled well. We had 4 turnovers, and we still have a 22-point win. That's a heck of a football team. We're starting great.
What does the moment mean to you?
It's a life changer, man. I'm just so happy. I wanted to share with the guys I love. And I love these guys.
Congratulations, Urban. You earned it.
Thanks, Tom.
Chris.
Stress and health issues knocked him out of coaching with us, his colleagues at ESPN, for a year, but he hungered to get back in. Ohio State was the job, the most attractive job that could lure him back in. Paul Bryant with his 6 titles. Leahy, McKay, Saban, of course, with 4 at 2 different schools. And now Urban Meyer joining the 3 titles club, like Saban, doing it at 2 different schools. Very, very exclusive club for a man who's still just 50 years old. Thanks to a very young quarterback who's with Heather Cox.
Chris, thank you so much. Cardell, congratulations. We just heard your head coach, Urban Meyer, talk about the 2-year chase for a championship. Now that it's finally here, is it as good as you imagined it would be?
It's even better. You know, this is still an unreal feeling right now. I'm pretty sure it'll sink in when we get back to the locker room, but I'm glad we can do it for the seniors. You know, these guys have never won a bowl game, never won a championship, and they 4 years been here. So, I mean, this game was definitely for the seniors.
Hard to imagine. This is just your 3rd start. All your teammates say you have ice running through your vein. How mentally did you keep it from this moment getting too big?
I mean, just having faith in my teammates. You know, I knew I didn't have to do too much going into this game, even though I had a couple of stupid turnovers. But, you know, keeping faith in my teammates, keeping faith in my defense, and we got it done.
And what an amazing season to think you started as a 3rd-string quarterback, had a baby daughter, Chloe, along the way, then became the starting quarterback of the national championship team. How would you describe this journey?
I mean, like you said, it's a dream come true, but it's still an unreal feeling, you know. Looking at all this confetti fall, and how my teammates play.
I love you, baby.
Like I said, it's just an unreal feeling, man.
I can only imagine. One last question for you. LeBron James came up to you moments ago. What was his message?
Basically, just, you know, a way to do it for the hometown. You know, this is something that Cleveland can hang their hats on for another year, and we need to get right back at it.
Congratulations, Cardell. Let's head over to Tom Rinaldi.
Heather, thank you very much. Alongside Ezekiel Elliott, you were staring up at the confetti drifting down, and I could see it on your face. What's going through you?
This is just a surreal moment. We finally did it. This is why we all came here to compete and win national championships, and we did it. It was our dream. It came true. And like just all the stuff that we went through to get here, it's just crazy. It doesn't feel real.
You were overshadowed for a lot of the season by other backs in the Big Ten. What was the turning point in these performances these last 3 games?
Just the offense just started clicking so well, and the line just stepped up. And they've had a great last 3 games. I mean, none of this would be possible without them. They're grinders, and they deserve everything that we've accomplished.
Ezekiel from St. Louis, I know your dad wanted you to go to Missouri. Mom went there. You chose Ohio State. How do you evaluate that decision right now?
Oh, man, go Bucks. That's all I got to say.
Congratulations, Zeke.
Thank you. Go Bucks.
Chris.
He says it doesn't seem real. In 12 amazing days, the Buckeyes go down to the Superdome and knock out Big Bad Bama from the SEC, and then come in here and smother Marcus Mariota and the Ducks offense, winning at 42-20, the first champions of the playoff era. We'll be back with more on the Ford postgame show right after these messages.
The Ford postgame is brought to you by